Mhm.
We're live, fellas.
All right.
Welcome
Perfect
in.
start.
Oh,
Hello.
Hello.
shalom.
You guys, we actually kind of stuck to our original plan, and it's only been like 2.5 weeks since our last podcast. So congratulations to us. Thank
Doing
you.
some
Thank you
change.
very much. And we brought a guest who
Pico.
already gave us a round of applause.
Oh yeah, and then there's
Hello.
Glocktain.
Welcome,
Oh, my
Glocktain.
No, we're here
Welcome
for
in,
Pico.
Glocktain. Glock, I almost
guys.
feel like we don't even need to introduce you at this point because you've become such a community staple, and everyone knows you as Wilson's twin brother at this point. So I don't really.
That's right. Lock up Demo. That's right. Yep. We're on
One
it.
time
No,
about
welcome
Bay.
in, man. It's great to
Away
have
the
you.
key.
Big preach.
Hey, I need to do a quick audio check with the chat here. Can you guys hear me okay? Can you hear our guests okay? I had the sound a
Testing.
little bit low last time.
I don't
You
know.
pet that cat. You pet that
I
cat right now.
think
Oh,
you
this one?
guys are good.
Yeah, you're the cat. You pet that cat. Oh.
All right. So if you guys have trouble hearing any of the boys, let me know in the live, please. Guys, a lot going on. Where do we want to start today? Glocktain, what have you been up to lately?
Oh, you know, oh no. Crying. All that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
What's it called? I feel like it's just gonna be the first thing we talk about, but like Luffy started recently doing another demigod on all characters, so I lost my duo. And so now I'm playing solos again. And with the market crash, dude, Sork, you just can't buy the gear to make it fun again. Holy cow. Even if I do spend like the 13K, boom, I'm dead around a corner. In one stream, I had 34 different cutthroat rogues. I went through the VOD today and I'm making a video about it. There were probably 5 or 6 where I had a crazy 1v1 and then instantly, as I kill the other person, dead. Because they just crouch walked up. There's just nothing you can do about it. And all the people, over the past week, I've had over 97 fights. I think it's like 98, 99, I don't know. Didn't hit 100, I was pissed. Into the evac. There's nothing you can do. And I was watching Cinder just run in. And I was like, I'm just out of spells. And then he's just gone. And it's just the most frustrating thing. So like, that's what I've been doing for the past week.
Not finishing fights. That has been a topic of conversation, I think a little bit more elsewhere than on this pod, but it's definitely come up here before. And I feel like it's getting more and more frequent that people are talking about it. I saw a Reddit post about it. And it seems like everybody is pretty okay with the idea that if you open a portal, it should disappear within 10 seconds.
Oh, wow.
And if you open a gate, the gate should close within 10 seconds, right? If you open a staircase should go, the gate should come back down within 10 seconds.
So like was it like the drawbridge where like you had to activate it and it like closes, you know?
Yeah, more
like,
or less. Yeah, but way faster
it's
for
faster,
the like the draw.
yeah, way faster.
Yeah, like your
like
open speed would be like a door. It would be like a door to open. So it's about the same time to open a lever or open a door to get the gate open. It'll stay open for 10 seconds and then it's going to drop back down and then you would have to go reopen it again.
I'd want it to be like an immediate one where you just hear a sound of you know how like when you close the gates now they can actually like damage you?
I want damage. Yeah, I want damage on them too.
That'd be because the rats would be even stronger. Crouching invis rogues and little mice would have the advantage on those, but then they would be punished for that.
Yeah,
it'd be sick.
Yep.
Yeah, they gotta do something about the portals. The portal, it's so frustrating. It's like because it ruins. There's a portal in every module of runes. I'm pretty sure, or like 80%, whether it's red or blue. So no matter where you are on the runes map, you are 10 seconds away from a red or blue portal. So you are so close that if you're a tanky class, you can get to a red or a blue if you're ever in trouble. So it just sucks. It sucks in solos, it sucks in trios, sucks in duos. It's miserable.
Yeah.
Anyway,
just a side tangent off that because that's important. Did you guys see? I think it was Jay or Party Chip. I can't remember. He literally was talking about how he damaged somebody like halfway and then he walked away. Chat started going, "Why are you not attacking him?" He goes, "It's a warlock. I can't do anything." he pulls up the map and he literally saw like circled with his little mouse where all of the reds were. He goes, if the Warlock plays within this area, you cannot kill them as a melee class. Like they'll just hit Phantom Eyes and they'll run into the red. So
I'm not sure who
always
that was, but it's
tricking.
so true. It's so true.
It was so
Miserable.
frustrating.
I feel like
boss?
it's such an
Yep,
obvious,
it's
it's
all
such an
the
easy
same.
fix. It's such an easy fix too. It's like, well, what are they? Just do it. Sorry, boss.
No, they have lots of easy fixes. We've talked about it enough. I feel like everybody understands we're all in the same agreement. Without that sort of a timer, everyone's going to abuse it, and everyone's getting more and more stale with the gameplay loop of just camping near the nearest red or the nearest blue, and it's just boring. That's why most of the time I circumvent that by going straight to Inferno. Like I enjoy going straight down. I don't mess around on the runes. I don't even mess around on crypts when I can afford to. Like if I could just skip right to a red and go down, and all of my fights and all of my fun, that all exists in Inferno because they can't run away. Most people don't even know where they're going. There's a lot of people that are new to the place, and you know what? I got a lot of experience in there, so I can make my rounds. I have a lot of fun in Inferno, but no more on the runes. No, not even really crypts.
That's why I've been queuing Goblin Caves a lot more recently too, because at least in like duos trios, there are some static portals. Don't get me wrong, but it's not a static portal that the entire team can take. So if they are leaving out of the static, they're leaving their team behind, and it's a little bit better than runes, but yeah, it's still a problem.
Yeah, Inferno is going to be the best place to get a decent battle because everyone's locked in and the portals are limited, and you have to know where your portals are. Like most of Inferno is like the proper gameplay loop that I enjoy from the game.
I mean,
Speaking of Inferno,
yeah, actually,
Yeah,
how do
go
you feel
right
about
into it.
that? I don't want to start Glock since you're the guest. How you feeling about it?
Yeah.
Dude, W modules. Every single time I go into one of those Inferno matches, it has been either hilarious, it's been fun, exciting. The modules are all different. This isn't just like they took one and changed up a couple where doors were. They actually have entirely brand new elements. At one point, me and Sobad were playing. I had no idea if I was on the level to get to the next module, and I had to explore, right? So there's surprise mobs, there's hidden things to find, there's enhanced mechanics, and Sobad brought up a really good point. They're probably going to be arena maps for the next season of arenas.
I
and
hope
they're
so,
good
man.
ones.
Yeah,
We'll
hope
talk
so.
about that one soon.
Dude, I'm excited. Like, I don't know if they're going to deal with the mob situation and Warlock, but the arena's going to be sick. So I think it's a W. What about you guys?
I think the modules themselves are sick. I think like geographically speaking, I don't know that's the right word, but like the actual modules and the shapes and the obstacles are very cool and interactive. There's cover, there's room to shoot. It's nice, but I'm pretty sure like the same guy who just ruined every single module on Ice Caves by filling in with a billion mobs did the same thing to these modules,
exactly.
where there's just too many nightmare mobs in these things. I understand it's Inferno, it's not supposed to be easy, but like at what point is the one module with the gold pile with like the 17 staircases has like 11 zombies, a skelly mage,
It takes
5
a whole raid
crossbow marchers,
the whole raid to clear that. Yep.
Yeah.
7 bats. It's like holy crap! Like
Obviously, you don't have flame walk and parry. Just not a warlock, man.
yeah, I'm playing
Not
no
enjoying
missile
the
wizard. I want to die. But the modules themselves are cool, and I feel like they were very much so designed with arena in mind, which I think is good and bad. I think it's nice that we might be getting some cooler arena modules. I think it's bad that we're designing the dungeon with arena in mind, though.
And
vice
versa.
Yeah, I think that's like a weird thing. But
We're going to jump into that? You want to jump right in? Skip from the... Because I agree, as far as the modules are great. Like, all of the new Inferno stuff is great. Finding the boss is still asinine and wonderful and more rare as time goes on. Everything about Inferno is a W so far. I really like the new modules and how everything blends.
I agree with both of you guys, but I do think it creates a problem, at least playing solo, especially HR. Your first order of business when you get down there, and God forbid that you get down like really late in the continuous dungeon, get down there 4 minutes in, the very first thing, because those modules are so big and we're now on a 5x5 grid, and those modules are so mob dense, you have to immediately go locate your portals. You don't have time to do anything else. It's like the prospect of looting, trying to get AP in an Inferno especially, or just like actually having fun and really exploring, like that's kind of out the window. Again, this is talking solo, especially HR.
Not a
perspective.
Warlock player,
Like,
obviously. Not a Warlock
yeah,
player.
yeah,
Yeah.
Looks
I
like
know,
you need to pick
GG.
up the Wong sword and the flame walk, bub.
I'm telling you, man, like it is tough. And I could stand to see another blue or two in some of these modules. But aside from that, I think it's great. I totally agree that the modules themselves are designed well. They're huge. There's a lot of verticality. I think it's overall it's a net positive for the game, but I'd like to see it tweaked a little bit.
Well, just having played it for 2 days so far, because I took a bunch of time off since the patch, a lot of those new modules have a triple portal thing, and most of them don't even need that many mobs to clear to, depending on which one it is, like Blood Waterfalls, and then that weird one where like the gates just automatically open and close. You can just lose like a bunch of mobs between all the gates, and then just run to a portal and open it. Plus, they extended the time that you're in there by, I don't even know, 25%. Like, me and
Man, it
Glock were
doesn't
there for
feel
a
that
long
way.
time.
Add more. I feel like they should add more still.
I'm still always on the fence on the phase of like, if you go down to Inferno now, it is more of like the dedicated trench of the battle. You have to be more prepared. You have to immediately just clear towards the blue as fast as you can. And I know it sucks, and so I still haven't had the pleasure of not finding a blue or getting like messed up. But yeah, it definitely, I can see where it's getting like to the point of a lot of players are getting pushed out of Inferno. But like, I think we give it more time, people get used to it. Could stand to like mix some of the modules up and change the portals up, but I like the difficulty level. I want it to be more of I want it to be more punishing.
I personally like hell being a cakewalk. It really fits the theme of blood dripping down the walls. If I can just always get out. I'm a veteran player. I should never worry about losing my gear.
I said I don't mind the difficulty. I really don't. But I can't see how it's definitely going to be very daunting for the more average player in Inferno.
Yeah.
Especially in
Yeah.
solos and duos.
Yeah,
How long
I
do you
Especially
agree.
if you're a weaker PvE class. And like a lot of the times the blue portal, just not finding a blue portal or finding a blue portal is just 100% luck based. I don't like that. I mean, they did add some more modules with blues, but sometimes you just get unlucky. Sometimes you spawn in and it's like 5 minutes in and you clear 5 modules and you just don't find one, and you might find it eventually, but like you're sweating and you shouldn't have to be sweating to like at least find a blue. I wish I just had some. I mean, I'm trying. Not like I'm not trying to find a blue. I
don't think you're trying hard enough.
I just opened 15 doors and just couldn't see any. I mean, my bad, I guess.
I still like, even, I don't know, man. Like,
This
like I
doesn't
said,
happen
I still,
often. It's not like this is an every raid thing, but like
yeah.
1 in 10 Infernos, like I might just die to no blue.
I swear.
Yeah, sometimes you get like the worst. You get like the worst spawn with a late timer. Yeah, the continuous thing doesn't make it like the combo of those things. I agree, is just overwhelming because it isn't supposed to be like that, and we still have to deal with the continuous effect of that. We haven't had like the cutoff time implemented. I don't think we're at a proper cutoff for continuous dungeons still. I'm still loading into a lot of things and just being like, "Fuck me, this is already over," you know. And I don't think that should be a thing this late into the wipe. I think it should be hammered out to like a 2-minute timer. You could even change the timers for each map so that like runes, you can have whatever up to 8 minutes. Who gives a shit? You're just using it to get down to crypts. Crypts, you could have it up to like 5 minutes, and then Inferno down to like a 3-minute timer so that people don't keep loading in with like 10 minutes left and then nowhere to go and nothing to do. That like cut the timers down on each layer, make it more important, and adjust it to the layer's difficulty.
Yeah, or like you could just make it so the corners are always blue modules. Maybe that's not the right thing. Or maybe you just have one of the 4 main modules be the boss room, where it's if you kill the boss, it's a blue. Just like some kind of direction that you want to go in. Whereas, just like I spawn in, I'm running around aimlessly, hoping I find a blue. It just feels a little sporadic and weird, and I kind of want just a goal, which I don't feel like I have.
So this is a great part of game design, right? And so with a couple of the companies I was talking about, is you have to have direction. It doesn't matter how fun your game is if you don't know what you're doing. that puts decision fatigue on the player. So think of your favorite game.
I like that. I
isn't
like
very-
that. This decision fatigue. I like
Yeah,
that.
that's a
term.
good,
I'm
that's a
stealing
good
that.
phrase.
So what's it called? When I IGL'd for Apex Legends for my squad and stuff, when we were going against like NRG Rogue, Imperial Hal, and all them, sure we could take them out, but I could only do that for 3 or 4 hours because I had to decide every single decision where we went, and that's hyper intense. The average person, i.e., 9 to 5, they have a shit ton of things they have to decide. 3 meals a day, how they're gonna get to work, what are they gonna do, what do they need to? You could go infinitely, right? But then when they come to the game, right now, the goal is to go to the boss, kill the boss, get out with great loot. But that's not the goal for a lot of people. Some of them just want to get in and have a great fantasy experience. But right now, there are characters that literally turn off your character. You don't know where to go for the boss for the best loot. You can't always survive if you go to the new places. These could be easily solved with a couple of things, right? Which would also solve others, but we'll talk about this in a second. Items that they could give the actual dungeon, you have to bring in. You have to gear up and prepare and plan. This eliminates that decision fatigue because you're doing it before the stress. If there was a guidance stone, helps you find the boss. Kind of like a compass, a little hot or cold. I didn't hear the footsteps of the enemy team. We walked right into them, right? That kind of thing could lead you to the boss. It's always random. There's fog of war. You still don't know where you're going. It's not like you can just beeline there. 2, you could have those static exits, but you have to buy something to get in. You have to buy a key. You have to buy a exit stone. What was that? What was Dungeonborn had like exit stones or some shit like that, right?
I'm not sure.
Okay, so
memory.
Dungeonborn actually had something where it was a crystal and you could break it, and it would show you where the nearest blues were.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they had to be pretty close, but within like one module, it would show you, or it would like hum or
Like
whatever.
sub bosses would drop that, but
Yeah.
that'd be a
That would
nice
be like a
pickup.
guidance thing, but it
Mhm.
would solve the immediately evacing thing, right? If you're just ratting and you're not actually bringing stuff in, it's like, oh, you're not strong enough to crush the stone, right? You have to have a high enough gear score equipped, because right now you don't have to equip the stuff. But if you went into Inferno and you knew that if you fought your way through, like, let's say you put these in literally half of the modules, where it's like a giant maw that you could put a stone into and you would just teleport out. Because, I mean, we have teleporting, we have the portals, right? This could eliminate a lot of those things. They could go explore, they could have fun, but they can't get the maximum loot. So those of us who want to still get maximum loot, we could go in normal and we'd be high risk, high reward, right? But that risk v reward isn't there. Is this making sense? Does this, like, Iron Mace has these opportunities, because we don't need to fix it with specifically map changes. We can do it with inventory changes, right?
I definitely like
items.
the guidance. Sorry to interrupt. I do like the
You're good.
guidance idea. That's like a great one. I think that's like
To find the
What?
boss.
to find the boss, but like
Yeah,
not like
that one's a
not
W.
not tell you exactly where it is. I like the idea of it maybe
Mhm.
just glowing brighter the closer
Yeah.
you get.
Mhm.
Just something along those lines. Just something to just give you a direction to go in. That's all. That's all I want, dude. Because I do agree with the decision fatigue. After a long time of just playing and having to choose where I'm going, what I'm doing every single round. After I die, I have to go to the marketplace and choose. Like, my brain is fried. I just want to go in and fucking hit people with a sword at a certain point and just turn my brain off. So yeah,
And you say, where do you guys want to go? I don't care.
I don't care.
Well,
I'm playing runes. I'm
yeah.
shooting fireballs. I'm gonna die. I don't care.
I'm gonna stab you in the back. goddammit. Like,
I don't know. Part of that's true, but also part of it is your guys' amount of hours. Because a lot of the newer players, or like your average 9 to 5 players, they don't have decision fatigue because they're not looking for the boss. They're not trying to do half the shit you said though, because they're just playing as is. They don't know all the modules. They're just walking around, killing some mobs. They're like, oh, I actually got some treasure. Let's leave. The thing that you have to separate is the POV of like all of us and
no,
the people who
decision
already
fatigue
have.
is everything. It's including your day, like even literally meals you choose.
Right, but these
Like,
normal players
willpower
aren't
is a
making these
tangible resource.
decisions. Like they're literally just dropping into normals, like 0 to
He's
24.
saying those
and they're
players are
just
working 9 to 5s. He's
Yeah,
saying there's
that's-
like the
that's
other
where their
part of the
decisions
thing
are
where they're
going.
not playing the game. Yeah.
right, but okay, but like, aren't they just coming in and they're just playing the 0 to 24s, and
Yeah,
they're
they
just
don't-
like walking
Yeah, they don't
around
have
and
any
like
guidance. Like, but we could give them options for it.
Your opinion of the average undefiver is like so condescending. You know? Like,
Well, it's much different that like when I
Like how
played,
many, like how much
right?
guidance do they need though? Like they literally drop in and they just fight monsters and like loot shit and then leave.
yeah, and how long do they stay with the game? Because it's like, oh, I've done everything. They don't even know about the worm sub bosses. They don't even know about the piles that are on ruins. They don't
have
know
like
about the gold.
quests and they go explore. How much of this shit do they need to know about?
All of
They're
it.
just, but dude, it's like an exploration dungeon crawler. They just figure it out.
But we don't teach them anything. We don't even have a tutorial.
I'm just saying.
Okay, we do need the tutorial. We need that
my-
sewer map. But that part, I
my
agree with.
duo partner Majora is a 9-to-5er, and he's like a top tier player. So you know.
Yeah, that's Major. That's a boy.
Yeah.
That's.
I'm just saying they're out there. They're out there. Okay.
Yeah. But I do like, we've talked about it before in this stream, the idea of like putting together a stone and it glows or it points you in the direction of the boss. That does need to be a thing, and everyone could buy one, and then you have like those epic PvP boss battles like we used to have before randomization. And then the market dictates the price of that, and it drops from monsters, or like you get fragments. When you get 10, you put it together. That's a good idea for like all the maps, especially if we're getting randomization of all the maps. And somebody in my chat today was asking, and I found it interesting, do the other maps need Fog of War? Like, are they gonna randomize Ice Abyss? Is the dragon just gonna be like up in a corner, or is it mostly like a crypt thing?
I mean, I remember when they originally introduced randomization as an idea, and I was spitballing in my head what kind of ways they're going to implement it and how they're going to move the boss room around with such a giant. Yeah, they fucking did it. I mean,
They did it.
to be fair, the boss rooms are pretty mammoth, and they even moved them to crypt. They could easily just like think about the actual necessary size of the Wyvern's arena and then scale it to the size of what we have for Modern Inferno. Wouldn't be that unreasonable for them to put that around. If they move it to a 5x5, make it big, like it's already pretty big. And if you capped out the actual playable arena, you know, there's a lot of void and abyss around that. So I think, yeah, they would do just fine.
Bro, think about how sick it would be if you're traveling through Ice Abyss and you and you just know the dragon is already started. You see an ice ball just go flying over. It's like, it's that way. And we just got to go that way. That'd be sick. Or if you spawn in the module,
if they like caged it up. I think we're gonna end like caged it up, kind of like how Inferno has like no, you know, like runes is gonna be different with randomization, because I don't know if you're gonna just extend all of the walls, because you can see through fucking runes. You know, you can see through a lot of it. It'll be the same with Ice Abyss and the caves. You can see through a lot of it, so there has to be like either a necessary ice wall that surrounds every module to stop it, or that could be part of the design. I don't know.
I mean, I think a good solution to like runes maybe to just delete it. You know, that might be the best move.
It's just a crypt loading screen.
I feel like I say that every fucking podcast.
Yeah. You got to find a way. It's this.
Just understand when you failed. It's just take the L. It was a good try. Good try.
I'm loud. So bad hates pores, and Ken hates goddamn runes.
And I hate 9-to-5ers.
I am the one arguing on behalf of the 9-to-5ers. I don't think they need like their handheld super hard. I think they just go in and they play the fucking dungeon.
Healthy games, 90% of the player base is like giga casual is the problem. And so we have people that like we depend on them to like go to outside sources. Like the average player base isn't going to do it. The game will die if we don't cater to like actual casual players, sadly.
Well, I think we do need a tutorial and a sewer map and like a little bit better of quests, but I think most people are just treating it like a dungeon, and like they're just dropping in with their friends and they're just like doing shit, and then they go to Inferno and they're like, this is really hard, we're not ready yet. So they run crypts like a couple extra times, they start to learn to boss, they like dip their toes into Inferno, they start to learn the modules. It's the same thing we all did, it's just harder now because there's more game knowledge required, and the PvP is like pretty fast and intense, and everybody's kind of like meta.
How long did it take you to get into HR for the first time? Like with like, you know, with either alone or like with buddies?
Well, HR didn't exist.
It didn't even exist, yeah.
Right.
Well, playtest
3?
2 or 3, where you had to pay to get into it?
Yeah, right away. Because but we already played 3 playtests before that, so.
Yeah, and it was like insane. I remember when they came out with the HR Goblin, I just had to throw myself at it with gear for like 10 hours, just dying nonstop, because there was also the zone.
Dude, I didn't do it.
So like it was fucking impossible, dude. Like no one did it. It was really hard.
It was really easy. You just sit in the
died.
storm, pussies. Just sit in the storm like a cleric. I invented the meta. I'll never die. Can't kill me, landmines. No, that was actually, it was really easy. You know, no one was doing it, so it was pretty cheap. Legitimately, that was
It's really
I feel
hard.
like
Like
I
was dying.
have a completely different perspective. I'd be like, "Oh, here's my blue. There goes the storm. I'm just gonna sit down."
Dude,
But
I was always too scared. I would watch Spud Hunter. I was like, "Whoa, how is this guy doing it? He just placed a trap. That's so smart. Oh my, I should do that." Like, I
Not to
remember being
mention,
that casual. Yeah.
like the rounds were like 8 minutes long too. So like you just didn't have, sometimes you just couldn't find a portal in time if you just weren't lucky. Like holy crap.
God,
plus,
I miss
everybody was camping in the circle. Your little rogues were just sitting on the edge waiting.
that.
Not everyone.
Your little rangers had traps. Spud had like 50 traps down at mid.
Shit was awesome.
All right, next. What else
They
we
create
got?
some intense
Oh,
moments.
Real quick, just for good pacing. I got my balls. Y'all were talking about you don't want modules designed around arena. I think it's a good idea.
So do I.
Because if they're thinking about how actual player interaction can be developed within the module, and this is because of you, Ken. You said earlier today on your own stream, I like the development of them because Iron Mace did not think about how doorways would change the fights. Everyone can get to a doorway within 5 seconds, and that's where most of the fighting happens. But with these new Inferno modules, it genuinely felt like you could cut up the fights pretty well, like with the actual environment. How do you guys feel about that?
A little bit. A little bit, but like no matter what, you still are very close to a doorway. The size of the modules hasn't changed. They are all the same size with the same number of doorways. Just there may or may not be more obstacles in between you and the doorways, which does help. It does help, but the problem will always be there with the doors until unless they do like an overhaul of how they look at map design. But I'm not going down that road because I will talk for hours about that. But
If
I
only
just
there was
don't.
a podcast or something.
If only there was a podcast where we could talk for hours about it. It's crazy, but but I just if the map is 100% optimal for arena, like say you're making an arena map like a World of Warcraft arena, it's going to be mirrored. It's going to be symmetrical. It's going to be relatively balanced. And like that's not what you want in your dungeon modules. You want your dungeon modules to be weird and have lots of variance. That's like the
Yep.
novelty of this game, which is why I think making your arena modules the same as your dungeon modules doesn't make sense. Obviously, you could have some modules in the dungeon and in crypts and infernos that are symmetrical, like your pyramids and etc. But that shouldn't be the norm. I mean, I don't think we want to go in that direction, or else it's going to lead to probably stale gameplay. I could be wrong.
No, that's the big complaint I've had every single time that I've gone into the arena for my daily dose or weekly dose of extra punishment on top of the dungeon suffering. Because at this point we know confirmed now that they have given us the worst of modules in order to balance them in a way that makes them less puke inducing. And as a result, they did take out the symmetrical maps that we did have just to feed us with more terrible maps. Like that's confirmed. And that whole design philosophy, I think, like you said, at the very beginning of it, it was flawed because they're trying to take maps that are meant to be explored and not necessarily just to be cool PvP places. Like not every single place in the dungeon is meant to be a battleground. It's meant to be a fucking dungeon. So like once you take the idea of that, you start making it into these like everything's just going to be, like you said, a symmetrical mess. It's all going to be the same
everywhere.
copy paste. Everything's going to have a backwards flank ladder with an extra doorway. It's like, where's the joy of exploration in the places that you just don't want to fucking fight? You just don't want to fight there. So why do we constantly get shoveled into these places in arena? And so far, I have to say that it is actively like the player base for arena, being one of the guys that queues in and constantly looks for people, it's definitely being gutted every single week that we are constantly funneled these maps. Like I can't get enough of the just frustration that I feel from my wake. Every week we come in.
Isn't that
It's
your
the
rank?
relaxing moment.
Like
No,
you and
it's
Polar Bear just kind of dick everybody, don't you?
we switch. I have like 5 characters that are kitted for arena from like 1200 to 3K rating, and it's just the entire player base is getting longer and longer queue times with less and less fun maps. People are just stopping playing the arena entirely because it's like, this sucks. It just sucks. These maps suck. They're not meant to be PvP'd in the mummy room. And like, yeah, you can make these maps better. But at the same time, why are you doing this in this method? I can tell you where you need to add a fucking flank or a bridge or anything. It's just basic gameplay, but constantly putting these people in these maps is driving away the players in the arena.
It's funny. It's like they're leveraging their player base's happiness as a resource, which
Yeah.
probably is not
It
a good
feels that
idea, you know,
Yeah.
which is a little interesting.
Real quick for the arena players in here, how often is every single person in the arena in crafted gear? How often?
Everybody but me.
85% of the time, I would say.
Yeah.
85% of the you see a
80
fighter, you're
plus.
going to see ruby silver,
Yep.
you're going to see a ranger in
Gold.
gold.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the frostlight gloves and the frostlight
Yes,
booties,
yes.
ruby silver double.
I'm not, I'm not
Fluid,
joking. I am the only one who's not in a crafted gear. I am the only one.
Me too. Yep.
because-
I
Holy
mean,
shit.
like
to be
One
fair,
Piece.
my
I have
cleric is in
Grimmies.
like
I have Grimmies.
See,
yeah,
crafted
Grimms,
safe,
obviously,
yeah.
of course.
Well, see,
No
this is
quests.
where this is kind of what I was getting at was I think the arena player base is dying because from my perspective, I'll say just mine. I'm not gonna claim
Mhm.
anybody else's. I'm not gonna craft a shit ton of perfect bis because if I don't, I'll just get out geared. Every time I go into arena, it's literally just a gear check. I'll shit on somebody, right? I'll dunk another ranger 6 arrows to 2, but he had the 2 best bis. He was
I'm
willing
going
to
to have to immediately counter that one because it is that game. The game is 90% of the time immediately done before you have finished the loading screen. The random 3 stack on the enemy team getting 3
Yep.
wizards and you getting put in mummy room.
Yep.
That match is fucking over, dude.
Yep.
3 rogues. It's just you do not win those matchups. It doesn't matter
Right.
what your gear is. It has nothing to do with it because they still haven't fixed the queue system. And I'm sorry, like that was just something that was so many matches me and Solar load into, and we're just like, all right, guys, at least your team is having fun. And we just run at them because we're not going to sit there. We're not going to camp in the swarm, spend 10 minutes to let the circle close in to have the optimal gaming experience because it's trash.
Yep.
We're going to run at them like idiots, get that game over, and go next. We don't care about that rating. It's a waste of everyone's time.
Got 3 queued against 3 Rangers in Bridge Room yesterday.
Oh yeah,
That was a blast.
that's a good
that
one.
was- that was
That's a
really
good
You
Yeah,
one.
guys
match is
remember
over
arena
as-
before rating? That shit was fire.
Yeah, gear score rating was actually, I think, the right way to do it. But we went
I-
this way.
I had a lot of fun with the constant like, oh, dude, we got to try this. That'd be so fun. Now it's like, oh, dude, I don't want to risk my ranking. I want that
Yep.
pretty color. I want
But-
that symbol. I want that dopamine hit. It's like, oh man, okay.
To talk on Jock's point though about the gearing thing in arena, it's never been as easy to get a good arena set than now
It
with
took
crafting.
3 hours to get a decent set.
Yeah, if you
And
have
you can
crafting-
re-roll it with the gold.
yeah, you could just craft a ruby sword investments and you could just use 4 gems on it. It's not going to be max rolls, but you can have quad on roll
Yep.
ruby silver. And like, sure, you might be marginally worse than somebody who has the perfect high rolled bis,
Yep.
but like you can get in that category where you could take them on for sure.
And we take that same philosophy into the dungeon. I know we all do. You're like, I'm gonna build a 5K kit and I'm gonna take down a juicer in a 30K kit with like 80% of the stats of him because I know I can outplay him. Like I know that I can get that edge with my skill multiplier and get lucky by having a mob and like take down some big juiced up Titan. We don't play like, not every day we go in there with a 50K kit constantly dropping those. You know what I mean? We do tend to strike out a little bit more on the skill based bonus for that gear, and I like doing that. I like my fighters in a bunch of crafted piss that I re-rolled just to get him with like the baseline stuff to go in there and shoot my bow and stab with a demon's glee, and I just run around there and have fun, or at least try to, depending on the map
Exactly.
and the
Oh, yeah,
enemy
I'm
comp.
just saying, I personally, and I feel like there's probably a lot of people out there that feel like me, where it's like, I don't want to have to get through that entry barrier because of they made crafted gear so good that like I just don't want to have to go through that. And so like if I want to play a fun cleric build, I don't want to have to go through that to build that because then all the enemies are going to be at that barrier. So even if I do like a fun goofy build, I would have to mint it or I just have to craft it. It's like if I felt like if there wasn't crafted gear in arena, I think we'd see a lot more variability, but I think you're right with the whole
So-
like go ahead.
You're saying that crafted gear makes
Mhm.
people not want to queue because they don't think they can compete.
Yeah. Like
But I would like to say that they would be absolutely shit stomped if it was the
Mhm.
other way around. Like in a way that
100%.
would be so inconceivable, they would never have
Yeah.
a chance in the arena. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
the crafted gear enables like probably a good
Yeah, I think
70
it
to 80% of the
equalizes.
player base.
Yes. To just go in there and buy their shit and roll a couple items, and now they're like somewhat competitive.
Yeah.
right away.
As somebody who has minted their entire arena kit in the dungeon, haven't crafted a single piece of gear, it was very hard to do it comparatively to somebody who could just get the quest done, throw some money at their kit, and be like very strong. So like I think the crafting actually makes it more approachable. But I also think this wouldn't be as much of a problem if like minting was account wide. We talk about this all the time.
Yep.
The problem
Yeah.
with is that in order to mint an entire sit from the dungeon, you have to play that character so much. And if you're like a class that struggles with PV, it's just hard. If you're just wizard, it's just a nightmare trying to mint all those pieces. Or and then you want to gear up your ult, then you have to play that all. It's just a pain in the butt for no reason. And crafting makes that easier for that. But also, if I just mint account wide, it'd be so much easier. Come on,
Yeah.
Aramis. Another no-brainer.
I had a thought. I want to poll you guys personally because this is like my preferred, but this is exclusively me. Just me sitting on the toilet going, yeah, that'd be fun. I thought it'd be fun for Arena if crafted gear could not be gemmed for Arena. You could get Brave Hunters with the Agi and the Dex for your Ranger, but if I found some like, I don't know, like cloth pants that were just actually bis, like, oh shit, I could just use this for Arena, and I could gem that. Like, I feel like that would be really solid because the crafted gear, just at base, completely outshines the base of the normal gear, right? Like the Cura
For the most part, yeah.
versus the the Ruby Silver, or if you do like the Ruby Silver Doublé or the Tri-Pelt Doublé or the Tri-Pelt Northern Tunic compared to their respective game base. But if you couldn't gem it, you'd have to make that work. But the person that does go into the dungeons, they'd find their like legendary loose trousers and they're like, oh, nice, now I gotta find a blue and get the hell out of here. And then they could gem that. I thought that would be really cool, right? Because then that entry level of like, oh, well, I want to try Ranger, but I want to do Arena. Like, oh, I could make some Brave Hunters, get close to the good pieces. Thoughts?
No, it
Still
doesn't
roll
work.
bis.
It doesn't work because you just roll bis. Yeah.
Like I'm gonna roll like 50, 100 pairs. It's still the
Yeah,
same
like-
concept.
Yeah,
for me.
it
gonna
just makes it
favor the
harder.
Wealthy. It's gonna.
Yeah.
It's harder to compete. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Screw those casuals. Or gambling.
It's just there is such a really big gap in this game between like the casual who struggles to survive to buy meds and blue weapons to get into high roller and the guy that runs double all ats Grimmies with his casual 4 lads. Like there's just such a sliding scale, and once you reach that top end, it keeps going further. Like we might consider ourselves wealthy, and then there's the fuck you kind of wealthy. Like, oh yeah, here's the kit I just put together. It's like you couldn't have spent gold on this, right? Like your child is not going to college with how much this must have cost. Like just some of the gear is just outright so astronomically priced. It's just unfeasible to have been farmed in any lifetime.
Well, I was just personally thinking because before gems happened, me and N-Boss played quite a bit of arenas that wipe. My Ranger, it took me probably 2 weeks to get a really good arena bis set because I couldn't gem it, right? But I ended up rolling like one of the best Brave Hunters in the game. It was like
max I was
biz
very mad
power,
at
max
you.
strength, and max HP. But like it took me 2 weeks, right? So like you could just roll bis. You can't roll perfect bis on all the crafted. Like even Repose in them, they stockpiled the Cyclops panties, right? Had a whole page of them. Didn't roll the good shit, right? Like I think it would close the gap a little bit, but like it's neither here nor there. It's just a madman's dream, you know what I'm saying? So it's like I totally get what you're saying though. It's good to have outside.
I mean,
opinions.
at that point, it's RNG based, and like the RNG base will always favor the people with more resources because they could roll the dice more.
Yes.
Ooh,
I think it's where it's at right now. I do think that the system does settle you more based on skill, which is what I'd like it to be for the arena, with the exception of the fact that we have terrible maps, mobs, terrible matchmaking, broken ranking system, and the solo queue is completely unplayable. But once those are all hammered out, because they could be very easily with a little bit of elbow grease, I think the arena is going to do great. I think like with the maps change and the no more class stacking, I think that the arena will excel.
Totally.
And I think it'll
agree.
be a lot more fun for people. And
All
it'll
right,
have a lot more of
here's-
a population boost.
Here's a hot take. Arena's fucking boring because nobody wants to do skill-based 3v3s all day for no reward and nothing to get from it. So why don't we mix it up and make it funner, and it's 3v3v3v3. It's 12-player battle royale in the same size module. Get that shit fast and loose with some mayhem like an FFA.
And you have to drop in with like a parachute and everything.
Whoa,
You have
whoa,
to
Yeah,
find your
whoa,
gun.
whoa,
Yeah,
whoa.
you
Hey,
shoot
dude,
them.
and
Dude,
Game
fun.
Out,
Sword.
it's continuous. Okay, so after you kill the first 3 teams,
Yes,
send the
thank
next
you.
wave, baby.
And then
And
put
have a
portals
stone.
in
Just
there.
We'll find the
invented the
boss.
dungeon.
You're cooking, put portals
It's
in.
just King of the Hill. It's King
You
of the
just
Hill. dude.
invented goblin caves.
Dude, somebody in your chat somebody in the shared chat had a great question. Blue Perfection, I think it was Blue Perfection. How do you guys define casual? I think there's a huge disconnect here. The reason I'm so condescending towards people I consider casuals is because like through all the different games I've played, like let's say, you know, we all get like multiple kills a raid. I'm thinking of the person who gets a kill maybe once every 3 raids. The person that like when they play Ranger, they're like lining up the longbow shot and they're like actually breathing, because that's where I started as a casual in this game, and that's how I feel. That's what I think of with a casual. What do you guys think of?
I think if you play Dark and Darker and you still have feelings, you're a casual. All right.
Yeah.
If you're not numb and don't feel anything
If you're
when you
not
play this
dead
game,
inside, if you're not dead
yeah,
inside yet, you're probably
that's how I
casual.
see it.
I feel things.
All right, that's my opinion.
Anyways, I was for casuals, like for me, it's like over the majority of the player base. So like, you know, 60 to 70% of player. And I consider them to get like 1 to 3 PvP kills a week if you're stretching it, you know, like I give them a lot lower on, I don't want to say like on the bar, but like I consider them like, you know, the people that log in for over a total week period, maybe like 2 hours. That's like the casual player base to me, like a 2 to 4 hour maximum weekly gamer that logs in, gets a couple of raids in maybe every other day, and that's it. So I put them on like a very far end of it. I would just assume that's most of the casual player base, and I have no concept of that. That's just my guess.
Okay. So bad.
I mean, I don't even know if it's an hour thing. I think a casual player isn't consuming content all the time, and if anything, they're probably having more fun than the rest of us because they still have the entire cycle of exploration to go through. For me, a casual player tries to make a time during the week to play with their friends, and they drop into the dungeon, whether that's 0 to 24s or 124s, or they're stepping into HR. But it's not even like a skill thing. It's not like 1 kill per week. It's just they play casually and they want to have fun, and they don't need that much guidance because the whole game is guidance. You start in ruins and you walk around and you do shit, and it's like a roguelite. You die, you go again, and you learn something. And so that they're still in like the 1,000 hour of playtime track because you're kind of a casual until you get like 500 to 700 hours in this game. And that's weird to say, and I don't think I've ever said that with any other game before, but this game's fucking hard, and it gets harder all the time. There's like 1,000 modules in Inferno, and a bunch of maps and a bunch of bosses. I don't even know how to kill all the bosses yet. I have like 10,000 hours. Who in here can kill every single boss?
Not me.
Isn't that saying something?
I can
Like
play
that's
Warlock
fucking
and kill
crazy.
the Wyvern.
Banshee.
I
can
can't-
crazy.
Warlock, but that
I'm
doesn't
gonna be
We
count.
play this
Warlock
shit for a
doesn't count.
living, and we can't kill these fucking bosses. That
I
is
can't-
weird.
I can't kill a skelly champ, bro.
God
Look at
damn.
my ass. I don't
Well, you're
care.
a casual. You can't even kill all the fucking bosses.
Well, that's the thing. It's like Majora in here. He says like, "What the fuck is this casual hate?" People don't have to. If you look up a single YouTube guide, if you go to the Reddit once, you are basically forfeiting the idea of being a casual. If somebody
know,
who
dude.
casually plays something, if I
Because they're
casually go
at
to a
work
restaurant
and they're on break and they like look at a little YouTube thing. They look at a little stream for a few minutes.
and
You're
they get a
still
little bit of
casual.
outside info and they put more time into it, and then the next thing you know, they're practicing things. Like, if you practice something and you want to get better at it, you're not just being a casual anymore.
Yeah, I
Right?
think that's fair. It's just an
fair.
information gap. That's all it is. And, like,
Exactly.
it's not time based. It can be time based, but like
Yeah.
people pick up things fast. I know people that have a few hundred hours that are very good. They pick it up very fast, even though they only have a couple hundred hours. I won't consider them casuals because the amount of effort they're putting and the amount of knowledge they gained in a short period of time. It's just a knowledge gap, really, what it is.
And I think we're all smart enough to know. I think I heard So Bad say this yesterday or something. I'm going to ask people in chat because I know that there are some actual cracked players in chat. Like there are some insane players in here that just aren't streamers, that just don't make content, right?
Mhm. For sure.
But they're like, ah, man, I got shit to do. I'm going to go to this party tonight instead. But they just like absolutely shit on Warlord, and then they go down to Ghost King and they shit on Ghost King, and then they get a crazy item and sell it on the market, right? Like
Just describing my weekend, no big deal.
classic.
You don't go to
Classic Dave.
parties.
You
No, I
don't kill Ghost King.
No, I don't.
But the reason I bring this up is because of like the dissonance, right? Because we all want the same thing. All five of us, we all want the game to succeed. We want the lower echelon of the player base to have fun and continue playing, right? But the vocabulary we use is all so, what's it called? Amalgamous, you know, like a gelatinous cube. It's hard to define. So I'm really excited that we actually have like 3 or 4 passionate people in here about the different directions and actual incentives we can put on the player base. Because this isn't just bitching like, I hate landmine rogue.
Oh, we'll get there.
Game's
We'll get there.
blocking.
We'll
Yeah,
get there.
give it time,
Sure.
man.
Oh, we'll
Give
get
it
there. But like, look at what we've talked about. We've talked about player guidance. We've talked about actual ways to incentivize players to keep playing. Hell, we've even talked about just how the map itself and core development of like it being a modular game might be an issue. That's really good. These are good things to be talking about. And I'm really excited to like, I want you guys each to tell one component of the game that you think is probably critical care. Like, what do you think if this was Operation Health? And I'm going to mute myself for like 10 minutes here, right? But I want to hear from each of you. What's one thing, critical care? If you had a 2-minute elevator speech with Iron Mace, you're like, go. What would be your critical care thing?
What are we doing to fix the game?
Yeah.
One thing that you think, like, if this doesn't get fixed, this could be a gigantic problem for the player base. Because remember, we are like, you know, indie game. If these things aren't taken care of, like, they could die, right? Like for Cycle, it was cheaters. For Exoborn, I think it's going to be the visual clutter. There's so much visual clutter in that game. Even I'm struggling just to find the fucking, where do I turn quests in? What do I do? I open up the map. I can't figure anything out. Like, it's tough. If they don't fix the visual clutter, it's screwed. For Overwatch, it was, I mean, there's so much for Overwatch. I'm not even going to go into that. But, you know,
Brigitte.
yeah, it was, oh God. When that character. Anyway, like for mine, for example, is the raw frustration of dying instantly from something you can't control.
Mhm.
If the game is visual and audio, I don't have touch.
Oh, this
I
is
don't have smell.
this is my rant.
This is Rogue. So I
Sorry,
feel
yeah,
like-
no, that was the beta of the Ken rant. But like, you know, if I wanted to die in one shot or with no counterplay, I would go play Tarkov and just get sniped.
Right.
Right? I would just go play Call of Duty Search and Destroy and get grenaded from like across the map. Shit like that, right? That's me. I want to know what you guys are thinking for critical care of the game. What do you think is the most prevalent?
While they think on that, I'm going to talk on your one-shotting thing, because I don't think it's necessarily one-shotting. It's dying to something, and after you're dead, not being able to understand what you could have done better. I think that's what it comes to. 'Cause I don't mind losing if like I get outplayed and like I'm dead and putting my nuclear suit on, and I'm like, okay, I could have did X, Y, and Z better. Like that's fine because you learn something. But like when you just walk through a doorway, there's a rogue there. He turns off all your spells, and before they're back on, you're dead. You're like, okay, well, the only thing I could have done better is not walk through a doorway. But the game's 80% doorways, so I guess I should have logged off. So that's where the frustration comes down to. But like I said, I don't mind getting one shot. Like if I could see it coming, and if it's like a Sork elemental bolt from long range, and there's something I could do, if I get hit by that, that's on me. Windless is obviously bullshit. There's a lot of bullshit in this game, but it all comes back to the same thing: is just wanting to have options and make choices. But that's my rant on that. So who?
Well, that's why Arena. It's the same thing with Arena. You just described why Arena sucks so much. Your match is decided at the loading screen. depending on what. Oh, they got 3 Rangers and it's the Goblin Bridge Room. Good luck. Go next. Like there's just the game is already over before you get any counterplay, and it's just going to be a painful experience until that Band-Aid is ripped off. Nobody likes that.
That's an easy one to fix, at least. Not all of what you said, but I mean, I think most of us can agree that when you random queue into the dungeon or you random queue into arena, this is gonna be weird, but you can have 2 of the same fucking class. Wow, that was an easy fix. That was easy, and we're like already halfway there because we can't queue with 2 of the same class. That's pretty easy for them to fix. You can have 2 of the same class. Oh, they gotta wait in queue for a little bit longer. Oh well. And then I also think part of that will be fixed when we get console. And I talk about this all the time, but when we get the console and then we get crossplay, the random matchmaking is going to be way faster and way easier, especially if the game's free on like PSN and Xbox Live or Game Pass or whatever the fuck they're going to do. And they already released it to free for Epic and it drastically increased the player base. So probably when it comes to consoles, it will be the same. But as far as like what health they can do to fix the game, I think Ken nailed it. I don't play Arena, but I imagine what NBoss is saying is correct. I don't really have any for me. I feel like the game's in probably one of the best states it's ever been in outside of solo being a toxic rogue plague. I just want more. I always want more. I think the game's in a really good spot, especially if you're still in that like 1 to 400 hour like learning period. There's a shitload of stuff to do. But if I could do one thing, honestly, I don't even know. Like, there's a lot of things I want to add, but I don't think any of them are like critical care. I would like hideouts because I like gold sinks, and we learned with religion that gold sinks are really good for the game and they balance the economy. So I don't know.
You
just
said
more.
earlier the new player experience, which everyone.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's good too. But I mean, considering how many players we have and how many copies we've sold, I don't know how much NPE we really need, and I don't know how much guidance we need. The game is like pretty easy to pick up and go if you're just doing 24s or you're just doing like 124s. Like you just go. It's a literal roguelite dungeon crawling experience and you figure it out. But some NPE is good, and I think like a sewer map with like some like quests and some like random shit is probably good. And then some more QOL. Like Ken's saying, I feel the same way with the burnout of buying shit on the fucking marketplace. We need to be able to like preset, and we're getting there too, right? Like we always get these little QOL things every wipe. Now we can put a set onto the Squire and like swap in and out. And you can save 3 sets there.
That was a huge win.
That was a huge win, but like I need to be able to save that set on the Squire and then push buy all, and it tries to buy all that shit from the market for the cheapest price, and it lets me know, just like Tarkov, how much each thing is. So I could be like, okay, buy everything but the boots, because I don't know why those boots are 15k, but like I'll find my own boots. But like that right there just saves so much time and heartache and fucking bullshit. Buy all, and it's just equipped. And I just spent like 20k or like 2k or 200, whatever your set is. I don't know how you get it for 200, but you know what I'm saying.
Right.
And then you're back in the dungeon.
Yep. Yeah, the whole UI is super click heavy. It's funny you use the term Operation Health because I'm pretty sure that's the term that Terrence used like 6-8 months ago when he was in interview with One Peg or some, I can't remember which. But at any rate, I think, and I'm sorry if I'm stealing yours, M-Boss, for people that play caster, for the love of God, fix the freaking elevated casting bug. Like, how many years has it been now? Trying to cast on an elevated surface, if it's a ground-based spell, the frustration in that failing when it loses, not only gets you killed, but when it loses your team a fight. When you're playing arenas, it's so prevalent and so frequent that it has made me like the closest I've ever been to alt F4ing is when that happens. And there's without exception, it's every ground-based spell. It's not just Holy Strike. Now that Locust Swarm is actually a thing, it happens with Locust too. And it's maddening. And yeah, I know everyone feels it, but before Locust was around, Clerics felt it especially bad because you have one offensive spell and it's ground cast only. And when that fails you, it's just like, good God. Now, that's spell, not skill, so I'm not including judgment in that. But man, and even Judgment is still not completely fixed. It's better. I'll grant that it's slightly better, but it's not fixed. So I would say Operation Health, priority number 1, make sure the intended or the way that you wanted your mechanics, spells, skills in the game, the way you wanted them to behave, make sure they're actually behaving the way they're intended.
So
Fix
like
those
fixing
things.
up hot swapping and bee hopping and
Yes.
perfect blocking and like the
Yes.
quality of life changes that everyone's been asking for but have been just kind of
Absolutely. That would be
less focused on.
priority number 1. I don't think any of these things are going to kill the game. Obviously, people are still playing it, but it's and maybe it's
But
a
they
good
fester.
thing. Yeah, they're definitely festering, and Arena really puts a spotlight on those things. And just a real quick aside, like Josh, I disagree. I think there are a lot of people that want to play Arena. I think what Mboss and the rest of us have talked about, those are the two main issues. The maps are a problem, and having multiple of the same class is a huge problem. You solve those two things and then just give it a little TLC. I mean, I'm not saying it needs to be AAA studio style arenas, but give it a little bit of TLC. People eat that shit up. I think a lot of people really like Arena. I know I look forward to it. I love the current schedule that they have. I like the idea of a certain amount of time going in, grinding to find some good gear to complement your freaking Grim Smile rings, because everyone is going to, except Ken, pretty much craft those for their kit. But I like finding the rest of my kit. Like, I accept that I'm probably going to have to craft Grim Smiles, but I like finding the rest of my kit. That's fun. Looking forward to Thursday. Get to go in. I like building kits on multiple characters, especially now that we have the Squire. So I think there's a really good incorporation of Arena into the game loop. But yeah, I would love to see those basic things fixed and then the Arena things fixed. So that's my
Yeah.
combo answer.
The
Even
spit
though
shine polish.
Yeah, even though Iron Mace found the worst possible way to implement Arena, like it's like impressive
Yes.
how they like. If you would have asked me the worst way to make Arena, it would be this. So like, good job, Iron Mace, you fucking nailed it. But that being said, it being in the game is still a net positive because for what you said,
Yes.
it makes, like I said, but we were talking about goals earlier and like in direction to go. At the beginning of a season, I am always trying to do a kill boss, go down, kill the other boss, hit the pile, hit the majestic chest, hit the golden chest, find mint for the arena. It gives me a direction because when you find these minted gear pieces of gear for your arena kit, it feels so good. And like just having that part of the loop is amazing. And like when arena is out, like there are times like I'm not playing arena, but arena's out, and I'll just play trios with the boys, and we get shit on. Like, all right, well, we queue up again. Then we get shit on again. And we're like, you guys want to play some arena? Like, you're getting fucking pounded in the dungeon. And it's just nice that it's there. As like, if you're having a bad day, hop in the arena, and then you play arena, and then you get fucking shit on the arena. You're like, let's get back to the dungeon. It's just nice to have those two things.
Yep.
But to go off of that and about what I would change about the game, like to fix it right away, or not fix it right away, but like what I would want fixed. If we are going to stick with gear score and having gear score brackets, I think it's of the utmost importance that we address putting the proper gear score values on crafted gear. It's very easy to just cheese some of these gear score brackets with way more power than you're supposed to have in it because you have crafted gear with 4 on rolls, but you're only getting gear score penalties of a blue piece of gear that would normally have 2 rolls. And you kind of break the whole dichotomy of what gear score brackets mean. I think that's just an easy fix, though. Like, very easy. Just change some numbers.
Cool idea. Just off the topic here. Why are I use Brave Hunters just because everybody uses them, right? Just for everybody kind of has a good grasp on it. Why isn't it when I craft a set of Brave Hunters, like if it has max roll strength and max roll, I don't know, let's say magic damage bonus, right? Just to throw a random one in there and then add memcap. Why isn't it like a purple? Like, why does it stay blue? They could have it be like if it hits a certain like, you know, like if it's percentage, either top half or bottom half of 2.5 and then 2.5 to 5. And if it's the strength, you know, 1 or 2. I feel like they could just make that so it actually changes rarity. Am I crazy?
I mean, it should just be purple baseline regardless because it's 3 rolls.
Right.
But then it'd be too expensive to fucking gem. So at least put the gear score value as what it would be if it was epic.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, if they roll really, really well, then it should be more expensive to gem because the person, oh, you've brought me these impeccable pair of pants. I don't know if I'll be able to put it in. Shit like that. Like that would be kind of like RPG-esque. I know, Kitty. I know, buddy. But like, I think that's just a little quality of life thing off the tangent there. But these are good answers, guys.
So something bad that comes to mind just thinking about that is like, okay, so you roll a pair of Brave Hunters as your example, and you roll a max roll on something that sucks ass, like a max roll memcap, but the system says, oh, you hit a max roll as epic. So you got cucked over for rolling max on memcap or like magic power, which you might not want.
Hell yeah.
I
You took
mean-
that risk crafting it, bro.
I mean, like I said, it could be fine,
Sell
but
it. It might be great for a cleric who's needing that max memcap. RNG, welcome to the dungeon.
holy shit, we're gambling again.
Oh,
Up on
wait,
and-
I just crafted it, but I don't need that slot. Let me just make. No, Kitty, no! No, baby! I'll be right back.
Now, on that point, but fixing the most important things in the quality of life, the biggest fix, the quickest fix, like target the areas that are the easiest way to get the most juice with the littlest squeeze is definitely the arena and the maps, and just finally realizing that conceding that point would be such an easy thing to get an immediate W with the community. The spell casting bug, of course, the hot swapping, bunny hopping, perfect blocking, all of that shit just needs to go. I know it makes people happy to have those little things and they feel good. Maybe even implementing them in a way to make it like, yes, you get maybe one bounce with a hopper. Yeah, maybe one perfect block, or just something to make it more skill based. Sure, but fixing them first, and then the other thing. Fuck, I had it on the top of my head, but now I can't remember what it was.
All right.
It must not have been that important.
No, don't say
Um,
that. Don't say that. Neurons fail you. We're not perfect
Nah.
machines. Neurons fail.
No,
more
they're not.
more importantly, since you lost
It's just
it.
the easy things to do. No, it's just the easy things for them to do, like fixing up the arena real quick. That's all. They just need to work on the stuff that's an easy target, and then get the new player experience out the door, and then map events. That's the 3 things. Like you could
just
have
the easy stuff.
No, I mean the map events are the big one, but like I'm talking something that's like, let's say it's a global timer. There's a new NPC. You can look at him and he's like, wow, it looks like the fucking weather is shit in runes. All the portals are open permanently. Oh, it looks like the Ghost King is dropping better loot, or all sub bosses are really pissed off. They're all nightmares and have a chance to drop new stuff. Just like for a couple of hours every other day, there's like a cycling event that changes, and you can queue it in the map and involve yourself. It doesn't have to be like a specific map event. It can just be like a couple of hours long. Like, oh, the goblins over there, they stole a bunch of extra treasure. Now goblins are dropping pieces of random jewelry, like different events to move player around the maps, like move them to a specific point, or just keeps people interested. Oh, I'm going to log in today, see what event it is. Oh, this event sucks. I'm not going to do that.
There's something
Yeah,
something
talk
a
about
day and night cycle, but then what if it's a day and night cycle? Then once every 30-day night cycles, there's a blood moon, and then the mobs are juiced,
Yeah.
and there's sick loot, and there's a bunch of name mobs. Holy crap!
Ghost King pissed himself.
Treasure
He
piles
only
are hitting
drops the
extra
meat.
hard, like
Holy.
there's just so many ways you can incorporate the lore into it too, and just make it like a fun and interesting thing. Like, oh, it seems like they've been finding extra quality gems and loading up those gem hordes. So now there's a 10% chance to get better fucking gems out of the pile. So everyone's going hunting for their treasure and consumables for their quests or whatever the fuck. It's just like little things to push people into different directions in the game. Easy map event.
It's cool. It's cool. Now
Rock,
to
what
keep
about
us
you?
on good pace. Oh, for me?
Yeah.
I personally, this is gonna come as a huge shock to you guys. I want them to buff the shit out of Rogue. I want them to get rid of silence, get rid of true invis, but let's make Rogue the Dex fighter. Take away the
That's Slayer
real-
Fighter though.
Nah, take that shit out. Take Slayer Fighter out. Everybody wants, when every single time I talk to somebody about rogue balancing, they're like, but if I just see a barbarian, I have to leave? Tumble is dog shit. Dude, if he had a dodge like this, kind of like the backstep in Dark Souls, like backstep for Ranger, but instead of being based around being purely invisible, or maybe if he gets hit, he turns invisible for a disengage, a return to the roots of what Dark and Darker Dungeons and Dragons kind of like that idea, because every time I bring it up, everybody's always so talking about how they're married, right? Rogue right now is just a landmine. 1000%, it's just a landmine. Everybody in Twitch chat, everybody on Reddit, YouTube comments, I've never played Cutthroat Rogue. I've never landmine. I'm an honorable rogue. 34 in one day. In one day, 6 hours. It's everywhere. You can't, if I walk into a room and I point to something, is that a rogue there? Boop, pops out, because double hide mastery, right? Like, the most optimal, gamers will optimize the fun out of something, right? So if you take out the bullshit, because it's up to the developer to let that shit stay in the game, but they create a new alternative one where if they're using the rapier, their tumble becomes like a waltz, right? Where they get faster backup, where they can back up faster than the other classes. I think that would be a fantastic direction, because we don't have a rogue, we have an assassin. And that is the moment where the game balancing all completely changes. People don't want to take good shit in because they could lose it instantly. But we want to buff the bad parts. We don't want to nerf the good parts, right? So instead of leaving it as pure invisibility, we make them a super fun swashbuckler who's still really good at getting into locks, or hell, some shit like that. Like, I think that's the number one thing that I would want changed in the game, because I think Druid should also get buffs to all their animal forms, but take silence out of this goddamn game.
Yep.
Because you should not have a design philosophy. Introducing the new Berserker class. He can actually one-shot you from 20 meters away. And now you're probably thinking that's Rogue. That's not Rogue. That's fucking Wizard. And so, to counter the Berserker class, we have decided to bring out the Schmingle-Dingle class, who then turns off your character. We call this a rock, paper, scissors balance. That's what we have right now. We have Fireball that can almost kill 50% of the classes. I did it to Repose in a goddamn tournament. One shot. Literal one shot, right? No counterplay. We have Windless. One shot. No counterplay. We have Cutthroat Rogue. One shot. And I use this in the term of when somebody has the ability to reciprocate damage, right? If you can kill me before I can actively use one countermeasure, that's a one shot. I'm sorry to break the little bubble for everybody. But that's what I want gone. I want the nerf of things that create silence opportunities. Every good game will take out silences, because that's taking away the agency of yourself. That's taking away the choice, the option. Then you lead to burnout, because if you don't have a say in how the game goes, if I didn't have a way to fight back, well then what's the point of playing? And so instead of just taking that away and leaving Druid and Rogue as is, buff them up. Make it so a Druid, when they shapeshift, if I'm fighting a bear, that motherfucker should be tanky and should push me around. But if I'm wearing plate armor, I shouldn't, get cut or take bleed damage from, the Panther, right? Some of these things just don't make sense to me. And that's what I would change. Because if I was fighting a Druid who was a really good Panther main, who had figured out all those mechanics, that would be really cool. Like when I die to a Ranger who just one-shots me because he had a crazy shot with the longbow. I'm sorry, two taps. I stood up and clapped because he had a crazy shot, because I was dodging, right? That's insane. That's great. That's what we want out of the game. Or if you're doing a longsword fight, you're trying to fight, you're getting in or you're getting around him. Skinny Pete's doing the reckless with his Y-hander and he's just drawing up a storm and everyone's like, wow, mechanics, awesome, fun. But then Pete walks through a doorway and he's dead.
Mm-hmm.
We watch Solar Bear. He's blocking. He's having a great fight with another cleric. And all of a sudden, we just hear curse. And it's like, oh, he hit my leg. Okay, well, there goes a third of my HP. Okay. Oh, Panther on me. Silence. Pat, 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 pat. The things that take away agency are what ruin the game. So, the thing that I think is critical care is that we need to make the characters into a safe enough point that we don't need a silence to literally turn off a character. You know, I could give other examples, like maybe where it's Cutthroat, instead of like silencing you, it just makes your cast speed negative 100%, right? Or it makes your action speed negative 100%. Where you could still like get a block off, you could still get one spell off, right? But does that make sense, or was that just like a really long?
No.
crash
Well,
out?
you're
That was
preaching to
definitely
the choir, man.
that was definitely a crash out rant, but like there was some good stuff there. You said agency and stuff. I always
Okay,
describe it as-
rogues fucking suck.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Here we
no,
go.
we all agree.
Let's go. Let's go.
Let's
Let's
go.
get in
All
there.
It's
right.
time.
It's the rogue rant.
But like, I think
well-
they deserve better than just being an invis landmine, you know?
Oh,
Like,
I agree.
Yep.
They just need to rework. They rework it 10 different ways, but like true invis plus silence is just not fun. I always describe these things as feel bad moments. You said agency, like when this is a feel bad moment, fireball headshots are a feel bad moment, silence getting killed is a feel bad moment, barbarian reckless one shots feel bad moments.
dude, your eyes lit up. It's fucking massive.
You said the same thing. It just
Yeah.
we've all gone like this. This
Yeah,
is just
yeah.
like a giant circle we've
Yeah.
done like 10 times.
Well,
Remove the feel bad moments.
Do we think that part of this though is solos? Because I think
Oh,
Rogue
for
is
sure.
probably in like a pretty decent spot in arena and trios, and it's interesting. And when we get the consumable to reveal them in trios and in arena, that class isn't as much of a little bitch as it is in solos. Because solos is where the most of the feel bad stuff happens, and if we like, it sucks, dude. But like, if the truth is we're not really gonna balance around solos, because for sure the double invis is like really interesting for arena and trios and probably duos. I don't know, like we would need like a whole separate poll. Do we need to change Rogue because it's a little asshole in solos? It's just creeping around and doing weird shit, and like 50% of the classes in solos is Rogue.
Well, think about the games that you also see in trios, right? Like, have you recently played trios like
It's
for
awful.
like a couple hours? So bad,
Apparently not.
dude. Like, even when I wasn't streaming with Luffy, we couldn't avoid the triple rogues.
Well, that's just going back to we don't let them triple stack or double stack classes. Like when there's only one, is it going to be that big of a deal?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, even if one person goes to go, like, let's say Jay Repose and them have a fight, even if it's just one person, the win-loss, it's mitigated because somebody sneaked it away. And it's not like they outplayed them, sneaking around, turning off torches, playing well, like setting up escapes, caltrops, shit like that. They just used pure invisibility. It's something like, even though they were running chase, they were running light orb, and they were throwing it around. We all saw that clip on Momentic where Jay was like, yeah, the radius is just ass cheeks. And in between two light orbs were literally two rogues. Like, we all saw that, like, right?
That's
Where-
funny.
And so it's not a rogue problem and rogue players, right? Because I've done that where it's like, oh man, these teams are fighting, I'm gonna try to get in this body. Like, that's just normal human behavior, right? Like, but like, I genuinely think that mechanic is a problem, and it extends past solos, past duos, past trios, past multiple classes. Like, even in Halo, there was a shimmer, you know?
Yeah, but
So
we
that's-
tried the shimmer and it made them useless. And
Because
we tried
they
a noise.
literally
We
changed
tried a
the
noise
character.
and it made them useless. So, like, I
Let's
don't know.
be clear. We tried Shimmer for like 30 hours. Okay, we didn't really give it a fair shake. They made a change to Rogue, and Reddit did what Reddit does, and they cried like a bunch of babies. And RMAs had no backbone and doubled back on it like they always fucking do. Whereas, maybe they could have just kept the Shimmer, then maybe gave them a buff in another direction. But no, now we're still here, and we still have the same problem we've had for 2 years.
Dude, I hate to defend the rogues. I hate to defend the rogues so much, but oh my God. Oh, it hurts. But the shimmer change without any other directional like buff or like implementation mechanically would just shit on the character. Like,
It
it
shit
just
on
breaks
them,
it.
dude.
Oh, it
Yeah,
did.
exactly. Like,
100%.
Yep.
And the world was a better place.
Okay, honestly, it's been really hard in solos because there's no magic anymore. There's zero magic because all the magic users just get fucking destroyed, and it's goddamn boring
Except
to
for
light orb
Warlocks.
and fucking Hydra. Nope, there's no warlocks in solos. Maybe like one every 10 games.
Really?
They
What
get
map are you
devastated
playing?
by
I see
rogues.
a lot. I see a
Bro,
lot
they
of
get
rogues.
cutthroat. They're dead. They can't do anything. They're literally deleted the second they hit a rogue. unless they're hydrating nonstop, and no one wants to do that.
Yeah, no,
There's,
they
like,
don't
no
live
magic
long,
in
but I still
solos.
see them a lot. You know, like I'm a caster. I see a lot
talking
of
about-
casters.
It's
I've,
HRs.
I've always said this like a while ago. I've talked about it before. It would be an
Mm.
interesting experiment if, for maybe just a weekend, 2 days time, they just disable the rogue class, and we'll just see how high how much higher the quality of gameplay is in all of these lobbies. If they just don't exist, if I don't have to go into a game with the anxiety of with whatever doorway I go through, I am flipping a coin, the game might just be better. And then maybe they could take that as like a hint to maybe rework the rogue class.
Yeah.
That'd be cool for like Boss's idea for the dailies. Oh, the arcana, it is not flowing through. No spells can be cast in the dungeon today. No spells.
Whoa.
Like-
I just wanted
What?
quirky little events to draw
Yeah,
people
I don't know
around.
about that
Calm
one.
down
Fuck you,
there,
buddy.
Satan.
All right, we're not logging in on Wednesdays.
No
You're
hate
disabling
thread
half
for
the
me.
classes.
Okay, that was him. I'm not sure where he's
All right.
But, like-
The rogue was a conversation. All right,
Yeah,
let's
we gotta
go
get that.
next, bro. Let's go
Yeah.
next. That was a long fucking rogue rant.
Let's talk about
Rogues are
religion a
shit.
little bit. Let's talk
Yes.
about religion.
I
So
never thought about Christ.
they brought it back after a more than brief hiatus, and maybe I was errant and foolish in believing that there was going to be more to it. But don't you guys feel like this has really been underwhelming, what they've delivered on religion so far? I know there's a gold
Huge
sync
waste
now
of
and
everything.
like, yes, gold syncs are good. We like those things. I would rather just have gold syncs that are actually fun to sink gold into, like the religion system as it stands right now. It's very, very underwhelming, and I know it's still early. They have not ever said that it's done, but man, like I feel like this is a very underutilized component of the game right now. Thoughts?
Well, I think it's explained best this way, that I just don't even know what the religion is. I haven't paid any attention to it. I have no idea that it exists. It doesn't affect me at all. It's just there. They spent time, effort, and money on something that doesn't do anything. There's a skin or something, right? There's some gold. I don't know.
You can get skins.
Oh, yippee.
Well, I have a question for you specifically, Arcane. Is this feeling of, how would you describe the feeling that you're feeling towards religion? Because I want to accurately ask this.
What
Like,
Ken said,
disappointed?
it's very underwhelming, disappointing, borderline useless. Like it really only serves as a gold sink now that they've equalized the benefit of joining any particular religion. We have 4 to pick from. They did an okay job, I think, like with the write-ups and describing what each one was, and like making it so that you kind of have Solaris being the good alignment, and then Zoran being kind of neutral good, and then you've got Noxalon and Blythar, which are both some variant of evil / bad. And that's fine. I dig that part. And when they first released it, they tried to make it so that there was some tangible benefit of joining each religion that distinguished it from another religion. And then they realized, oh shit, you know what? Everyone wants luck. So everyone picked the same religion because everybody wanted luck, because all the rest of them were useless. And then they take religion away, they have it on hiatus for I don't know how many weeks, and then they bring it back, and now everyone just gets luck. So there's nothing to distinguish one religion from the other. And yeah, like Ken said, it to me, I don't think it's an overstatement to say it just
I think it's
feels
just a work in
useless.
progress.
It feels
Yeah.
useless right now.
Yes, it is. It is useless. and
absolutely
it's
useless.
It's pointless. It's shit if we're being perfectly honest. But it's a way step further than it was, because now it's a gold sync, and there's like a civil war happening that does actual nothing, and there's 0 point to it. But this is a step further than where it was. And I said this today on stream, is that almost everything Iron Mace does is a baby step. That's like kind of whatever, and then they slowly improve it each wipe. And so we're like, we could be like 1 wipe away from religion being fucking epic. If the Civil War, whoever has the most kills at the end of the week gets a little buff that week, and then you can change religion each week, everybody would be moving around and doing the Civil War, and you get like a little sum. And at one point we had a sum. We had like 1.5% PDR, 1.5% MDR, like whatever it is. So as shitty as religion is now, it's definitely in the best state it's ever been in. And I think we're like 1 or 2 wipes away from it being good. But they do that with everything. Like Arena was pretty fucking shitty when it first came out. And now we are where we are. And I know you guys have a lot of
And
complaints.
it's worse. It's
Yeah,
worse.
it's way worse.
Now.
It's
It's fucking worse.
It's
Okay, but like
worse.
the rank structure is there and maybe a reward, like it's getting there. And like they always do this. And so
I would just like to
I would rather
clarify-
have this religion than nothing, is what I'm going to say. And it's better than it fucking was.
They do 2 directions that you're talking about. They do 2 very distinct directions. Okay. We have one direction where we receive something in its infant form. And I've talked about this in the last podcast where we get something so baby like that Iron Mace is so fucking proud. They're the cat that just killed the rat and dropped it in your lap. And they're like, look at what I did. And it's the fucking expressman. You got to click 50 goddamn times and he immediately teleports out the moment you go to a red. It's implemented in such a shoddy, but you know, it's there. I don't want to like bash them, but it's like a poorly implemented, but they're like, look, we did this for you. And then either it goes one direction where they hone it out, they really fucking get in there and they Iron Mace this shit and they make it nice. He stays there 10 seconds. You can auto get all your shit back. You can deposit stuff. And then they fucking scrap it and it was a huge waste of time. So we have 2 directions that are completely varying in what's going to happen, and we never know which one we're going to get. Next wipe, we might not have religion at all.
But that's early access, dude. We're literally testing the game, and
I'm
we are
just saying
deciding
that
as a community with them that
there's a lot of
even if
effort.
Expressman never comes back, that was a good idea for what it was.
Yeah.
And now we
It's
don't
a
need
lot
it.
of juice that didn't get squeezed. Like we put so much into this and then fucking nothing. We could have put it in other places. We could have had
That's what
casting
they put into
works.
it. It was
We
a
could have-
fucking Expressman.
Yeah.
I'm just
Bro, most of the
I don't
ideas
know that
stick
the
though. Like
Expressman is a good
80% of the ideas stick, and they
the
improve
idea
over
is
time.
that they do put an idea out, they put a lot of effort into it, and then they put out another idea that completely foreshadows or eclipses and completely flushes that previous idea out, and we have nothing.
Or we get map-based events, which you want, and we
It's a
all
pretty big
want,
coin
and one
flip.
of them is a fucking
I'm
Expressman.
just saying.
And none of that's scrapped. It's now part of the game as an event, a map-based event.
Well, now hold on, just to bring it back. I asked Arcane about how he would describe how he's feeling because I wanted to know. This is important for everybody, right? Where when you bring up religion, it's a new idea Iron Mace comes with, and we all have different feelings about the new ideas and everything, because I definitely agree with a lot of things that are being said right here. But for specifically Arcane, are you feeling bad about religion because it's a yearning that you wish it was something more, or that you're disappointed they went in the direction of even trying to add this other offshoot?
Definitely the former. So I'm trying to think back. When did the religion system first get released? Was
It's
it
around patch 68, right? They
No.
did patch 67.
before
That
that.
was religion, and then 68 was the increased loot around, and you could like actually find legendaries.
No,
like,
that
small
was the
bins?
patch. It was way before. Religion came way before patch 68 and the loot buffs. Like we were
Oh,
testing luck and
sure.
messing around with it. Yeah, at least a wipe or two before. Yeah,
was
they put it out on the test server. It was like
definitely
Druid launch.
last fall at least?
Yeah, it was like
Well, we're on
Druid
patch
launch,
like
I think.
79 now. I'm
Yeah, but
scrolling back
68 was
here.
the big loot buff. 69 was
Yeah.
the waste of everyone's time.
It was like
It was
2
way
wipes
before
ago.
60.
It was
68.
White
It was at
Ranger
least two-
Apocalypse, and you know it. That's how we all describe it.
Yeah,
Everyone
it was
just-
literally like 2 wipes ago.
Yeah, it was like
just
2
to-
wipes ago, and then it was gone for like
I
a
think it was
wipe.
Druid. I think it was like with Druid around then, but it's been a while.
So
Holy-
to get back to the reason I was trying to sort out the timeline here is
yeah.
around whatever time that was. I can't recall anybody frequently in any venue platform talking about how one of the things they were really looking forward to is the introduction of the religion system, because I don't know that it was really ever mentioned that much. Terrence may have referenced it once or twice on a podcast, but it wasn't something that was like at the top of anybody's list. So this is something that, like, out of all the things the community was asking for, out of all the things that they have yet to optimize and yet to fix in the game, Iron Mace made a conscious choice to throw religion in the game and devote a little bit of time. Maybe it's not a lot, but if you're gonna throw something out like that and it's not something that is really in high demand, like why throw it out so underbaked? So you can make the argument in other areas of the game, and I've been a defender of this idea, probably too much so, that hey, they're gonna throw out stuff undercooked because they need to get the data back. Religion does not fit that bill. They didn't need to get data on religion. It wasn't something that was in high demand, and you released it in a very undercooked, underwhelming state. And then when you take it away and bring it back, it's even worse than it was before. So that's my main gripe with it. Like it doesn't fit like any of the defensible positions that I think they could take in other areas of the game.
Okay.
It just feels
'Cause
like a waste of resources to me. They're spending time, money, and effort on something that doesn't really do anything. Maybe one day it's going to be great. Maybe I'll eat my words and I will respectfully, say I was wrong.
Yeah, I'd love for it to get to a point where it's useful and fun and adds some value to the game. I don't understand why you throw that out, given that nobody was really asking for it and you don't need to gather data on it.
That
Why
guy
would you
could
throw
have
it
worked on
out?
the skill trees. It could have been skill trees. Sorry.
Right. All right.
Ken, you got to give up the skill trees. Ken, they're
No,
not coming.
I know they're not, but they should. I'll die on that
These
hill.
were supposed to be the strongest versions of the perks we'd ever
Yeah.
would have gotten.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That was like back in, oh, God. I was also looking for when they introduced religion. I literally couldn't find the patch. So you're definitely right. It wasn't patch 68. I literally couldn't find it.
It was at least last fall. It might have been last summer.
Yeah, because patch 69 was October. It's been almost 4 months now since Windless Apocalypse.
Well,
Holy
like,
cow.
part of it too for me is that we just don't know what they're gonna do with it. Like maybe for you, you think it's like an underwhelming, underbaked thing, but we know they want to do guilds, guild halls, and guild wars. So what if religion is the first stepping stone into that?
I
And
hope so.
every
Gosh,
every
hope so.
every Saturday, you queue in with your religion, up to 3 players, and you just drop into a 9v9. Blythar versus Praise the Sun, and
No, I agree.
Noxion
Like,
versus the Wisdom. I don't know. all the
we
names of the
have no idea what they're doing. Winless is like maybe
Yeah.
tomorrow there'll be ops, and then the next day there'll be
Mhm.
Gatling guns. Like it could be anything,
Yeah,
Could be anything.
could be.
And then you go to your guild hall, and it's like up to 12 people, and there's just like snake shit, and the sun shit, and it's like a cool spot. And there's VoIP, and there's like a cosmetic cape or like a sash. Like you could say the same thing about sashes. What the fuck are sashes? They're nothing. And somebody took time and effort to make that, but it's cool. And the thing is, they're not spending their whole fucking team's worth of development on religion. We got more
No,
shit this wipe than almost ever before. So for me, it's like these little things are really adding up. And like 2 wipes from now, we also have fishing, and probably like at the tavern and trading dummies finally. Trading cards, and like I like all those little things. For me, those feel like there's always something being added. So I don't know.
So maybe my gripe is like Iron Mace is like working on these little things like religion, right? It's like they're
Mm.
tending the garden, working on little details when their fucking house is on fire. We don't have quivers. We have cheaters. They have RMTers. They have so many problems, and we're like working on these little religion things that don't really matter. Like that's like where the frustration comes from. If there wasn't all these other problems, sure, a nice little religion patch would be nice, a nice little addition. But like, there's so much other shit that needs attention that we could put
Feels like
religion
they're
on the
using
back burner.
resources for sleight of hand to distract you from the big issues kind of thing.
Kinda, yeah.
What are the big issues? I don't like what do you mean cheaters and RMTers?
The
It's not
bugs
Tarkov.
fixes. There's a lot of quality of life. We don't have search fucking anything. We have
The-
so many
We
quality of
just
life
got
features.
the marketplace QOL and the fucking Squire sets. Like this shit is going
Oh.
hand in hand. We get like a bunch of QOL and we get religion, and then
We don't
like,
have
a
quivers. It's been 2
bunch.
years, no quivers. I mean,
fuck
I-
quivers.
I
It's really
still
not
can't.
that big of an issue.
I still can't move around stuff in my inventory when I'm meditating. Like, I can't move around
Hot
stuff in my
swapping,
yeah,
gold
these
bar.
are like a lot of these are just
perfect
little things,
blocking.
dude.
These
They're
are
just gonna
these are
get
just
added.
little things that should have attention to them before we add useless religion.
No, please add fishing card games before quivers.
It's the argument of I would like the content that I've loved for so long to be polished instead of added to. It's the argument of I would really like the transparency of where this is going. I want to know that what I'm investing my time into is being returned lovingly. And I think that can sum up a lot of these arguments.
Yeah, that's true for sure. But Terrence has said in the past that, well, it wasn't that long ago that it was the first time I'd ever heard him say, yes, we do have a roadmap. Prior to that, almost every podcast that they were on, it was like, yeah, we're doing the best we can. Like, the success of this game caught us off guard. We're going to make mistakes. We're trying to staff up, scale up, get better, but we're going to make mistakes. And guys, the reality is we don't really have a roadmap. That was the kind of the company line for at least the first year, if not first 2 years. And then I don't think it was until 2024 when I heard Terrence say for the first time, like, yeah, we have a legit roadmap now. But that roadmap is still very much subject to change based on SDF's vision. Like, we all know what SDF says, that goes. If he's not on board with the idea does not happen. So that roadmap at any given time could get thrown out the window depending on how SDF feels.
Hell fucking yeah, let him cook.
Conversely, sometimes he might have a little bit too much of a joy with an idea that not everybody else does, and then we have to deal with that idea despite it not being the best for the game. But that's just part of the process. Basically playing devil's advocate because somebody has to. Sometimes it's just a bad fucking decision that he keeps forcing down your throats in multi-classing.
Plus all.
And
Plus all.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
just
I get your
there's
point, though.
situations.
Maybe I wouldn't be so like critical of the religion thing if I knew what the goal was, but you know, the goal hasn't been communicated. I don't like know what they're even going for, so I don't even know like where this step is leading. So that's the problem. We always talking about the SDF vision, but he's never put it in words. Nobody knows what it is. It's just this mythical thing that people meme about, the vision. Like, what the fuck is the vision? I'm sorry, excuse my language, but
It's a weasel word.
at least give me a hint. Like, give me a little piece of the vision. You know, let me know. I don't really know what we're going towards.
I think we know what we're going towards, though. Let's not be like too
bankruptcy.
vague. I mean, we've heard the 3-pillar thing, and the 3-pillar thing is the vision, and it's the roadmap.
Not were the same words.
So I've heard you guys talk about it before on the podcast, and I think it needs to be said again. Personally, I mean, the good points do, right? That's the importance of this podcast, is to bring awareness to all the people viewing. Hey, these things are being brought up multiple times by large creators and Glocktain. And I think the biggest thing is SDF really fucking likes to say, that's what we're working on. Haha. Oh, that's half baked. Oh boy. They don't use the PBE. It's gone. It's dead. We're in early access. The PBE, the what's it called in this game?
The test server?
Test server. So all of these things could be put on a test server, right? But in reality, there's not a big enough player base for this, right? It's not Overwatch. It's not League of Legends, right? We can't dedicate that. And people are scared to put resources towards that. They haven't even updated the test server.
No, it is updated. It's way closer than it's ever been, though. It just wiped, and it's just behind us.
Yeah, you
it's
don't
like
need
3 months behind.
And I don't think you need a lot. Ken has mentioned
That's
before.
close, though.
Yeah, you just need incentive to go do it, and people.
Yeah. And I feel like we're almost there for that as well, because they don't have to give. We don't need that big of a player base to go play test. But the main thing that I think they need to realize about test is that we could treat that as a wipe, especially like right now. Like, let's say next week they wipe test server and they announce they're going to wipe it and they're going to update it and they're going to bring whatever the next patch is, and then we can test it, and people would want to do that. They just come in, they would like go test it, level up real quick to 20, and if they have a little reward track where it's like 10x XP and you get an emote like once a season, like I don't know, man. I test server needs to be better, but I feel like we're getting there.
Because all of these things that we're bringing up, right? Arena was half-baked. Religion was half-baked. The first time it came out, it was flawed. The second time it came out, it destroyed the market, right? For these things that we've invested into. So the like longtime players are pissed off, but like, you know, I think we can all agree here, us five. We can see the vision of it. Like, it's good to have the gold sync. Like, Arcane even brought that up, right? So Bad brought that up. It's good to have those things. But in the short term, right away, they're half baking it. And I think you guys are all right in your own vision. I think the big overlying issue is the fact they're not showcasing these, talking to experienced players, devs, and third parties, right? They're not signing NDAs with like streamers to say, hey, how would this fit into the actual gameplay? They've admitted we're beyond their gameplay. They've admitted that. And so for them to just constantly be saying, hey, new shiny, hey, new shiny, hey, new shiny, people feel like Ken. House is on fire. People feel like NBoss. Arena's literally going to shit. What are you doing? Like, ask us. We're trying to tell you. And So Bad is right, because it's all the little things. But we're also seeing all these great things. And Arcane polished on that. He said, I'm disappointed. I yearned for something more. It could have been more. They could ask all these people in the community. But instead, just like Ken said, we're getting these amorphous blob words, these weasel words, SDF's vision, the roadmap, new map probably coming next wipe. Oh, wait a minute, the wipe is almost over. Oopsie daisies. Here's religion. We didn't ask for religion. Here's sashes. What's it for? Nobody knows.
And they don't say anything.
Exactly, the overarching. And so chatters are even saying, my quivers, backpacks, inventories, all these wonderful things. And if there's a dev out there fucking listening, talk to the community. Don't just do these random Q&As. Literally have a place to go to, not the Reddit, because when everyone has a platform, only the idiots are going to scream on it. I'm sorry, that's fact.
All right, I'm going to be devil's advocate. Keep doing the
don't even
little
tell us the
things.
patch was a week
Don't
out.
tell us about anything. Who gives a fuck? The patches are great. The wipes are great. These little tiny little things that are being added are great. All right, we're going to move into Q&A. So, Chad, hit us with your
You're just
questions.
fired, you son
We've
of a
got
bitch.
about 10 or 15 minutes
Go
left on the
ask your
podcast.
questions.
Ask your questions. Let's dive in.
But to pull that out, they didn't even tell us they were going to be a week late on the patch. They only basically were like, yeah, we're kind of taking things a little slower, but that's just, you know, they don't say anything. They remain cryptic for unnecessary reasons.
It's because he wants to surprise everyone. He wants so bad. When we even had
Surprise,
an
you have to wait
update
another fucking
tester-
week for a patch.
Exactly. And then when something's broken in it, we suffer. He wants everyone to just be like, oh, yay, WSTF. Imagine if patch 69 was on the test server. Everyone would have gone and done it. Everyone would have seen how it felt, but it wouldn't have hurt the game. Right? But yeah, let's go to Q&A. Like, that's the big thing, is I just think he just needs to stop trying to treat it like a shiny ball he's showing his parents, you know? It's like, dude, we need to work with you.
Let him
Just wanna
cook.
get-
Let him fucking
Like I
cook,
said,
and
it
let
was
Chad
the
cook with
idea
some
of
questions.
the idea of that patch was just all he had to do was say, we're waiting a week. That's it. They come out and say, there's not going to be a patch this week, guys. We're just going to wait.
Fucking
That's
week, dude.
That's all they had to say.
It takes 5 seconds. It just shows respect for your player base, man, because a lot
Yeah.
of people do plan around those patches. Seriously.
It
Like,
takes.
it
It's not even a
takes-
patch.
it
It's like
takes
it
time.
takes.
It takes no time to write
It's-
one sentence and say, hey guys,
It's
no
going
patch
to take
this
a
week.
couple patches for the vision to take form. It's like 3 a.m. He's like,
Okay, sorry, we were being sued by Naxon and we just lost the case. We have to pay $7 million. Sorry, your fucking patch is 1 week and that you planned your whole week around a single patch. Patches are now every 3 weeks.
How many
It
Alright.
took
times
you
does that
10
happen?
seconds, sir.
How many
It took you
days?
10
How long
fucking
Q&A?
seconds to do that. So
10
bad.
seconds. Yeah, it took you 10
Yeah.
seconds. Exactly.
Yeah, well, I don't run a company and I wasn't getting sued. Else it would have taken me a week, which is what it took them. All right,
it's
we're
just so
going
easy.
to Q&A. All right, here we go.
What do we think about getting Lantern Shield
a shill.
on Cleric? Lantern Shield on Cleric? Thoughts?
W.
I think it would be cool. I think Lantern Shield is actually broken though. It's so
Yeah,
OP.
it's broken.
It's
Yeah, it
great.
shouldn't
Dude.
repot twice.
I've been on my Lantern Shield fighter arc and I feel like the main character
It's a
when I'm playing it.
crutch.
Yep.
It is a giga crutch. You can
It's huge.
literally get parried and hit like 4 seconds later. It has such a ridiculous, like, the way the longsword functions with an actual, like, small area of play, and then the fucking shield is just like a, welp, you missed, but I'm still hitting you for twice the damage.
Yeah.
That being said, it's very fun to do, and I also enjoy fighting it. I think like there's counterplay. You can fight around the shield. You can go for legs. You can avoid the shield, and when you do hit the lantern shield near a post, it's a very short range. You could space it.
Right.
It's like
And
it's not just like
shot.
Naruto.
It's not going to one shot you either. In most
it will
cases.
it will two shot you though.
Mm,
It will
It
two
will
shot
two
you.
shot.
That
on
second hit, the second hit will
Yes.
one shot you.
I shit on one as a Sork with a crystal sword melee build, and he was in full uniques. Like, dude, it comes up from the middle, like just
Yeah.
block down. Like, oh, I hit a shield, block down. Like,
Yeah.
it's not even that hard. Like, how is it broken? I'm confused.
It's just,
I
it's
think
just,
one.
it's just a lot of damage. I think one thing is the same problem with longsword too. It's a very simple problem. It's you're getting riposte multiplier combining with headshot multiplier. So like whenever you're riposting plus a headshot, it's just like a 250% multiplier, which is just crazy.
You're deleted, dude. You hit
Yeah.
shield once,
Yeah.
he hit you twice. Before you even swung again, you got hit twice, you're dead. Like literally two
You just
shots
block.
if you have high strength. You block
If you're
what?
meleeing the lantern, it's like a visual cue though. Like you know that he's gonna go for the block, just like the longsword.
They can
He's
hit
gonna be
the
in
block
stun
after
longer.
you've already
Y-
been
yeah, it can
striking
go
them. Like,
through
I will
them, and then you,
headshot
like,
with the
peel
Morning
it
Star,
back.
and he will like crouch, fucking
Mhm.
stick his shield into the ground and get that hitbox and get the recoil. And since the Morning Star has high impact, it sends the shield full distance, gives him about a 3-second window to fucking sit there, write his mom a strongly worded letter about how she poorly raised him to play that character using Lantern Shield, and he'll fucking slap me in the face with it still. Like,
Hey,
I mean, when
Lantern
I
Shields
hit
are
it, it
dope.
literally was
Bro, I'm
screaming.
getting two
I will
shot by a
concede.
shield. It's
But no, I
way
get
too
it.
much
I'll concede.
damage.
I'll look out for it, but I'll
It's
concede right
fun.
now for sure. For sure. Like
It
you
is
guys are
fun.
definitely the melee players here. I'll definitely concede. That'd be silly for me to be. Don't worry.
So
The
So
amount of
Lantern
times I
Shield
bounce off it,
It's cool as
it
fuck.
has too
and
much
it's-
of a window.
Yeah,
It's fun, cool gameplay.
stronger.
It's just that the headshot damage is too much. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Can you
related
desock?
topic
Can you
is
desync block with it?
what's up?
Can you desync
No,
block?
no,
riposte
because
it?
you can't. No, because it doesn't function like that. That's not how the block works. The
Yeah.
perfect block. You can't perfect block because you can't riposte afterwards. You're swinging your weapon so that your animation is locked.
Yeah.
You can block with it, but you can't use the riposte function of the perfect block.
Right.
If you see what I'm saying,
Okay. Okay.
you're still like you're blocking, but your animation is still your hand is moving. Manny was
okay.
asking about the cheating and stream sniping with the continuous dungeon, and I think that's just it's the worst it's ever been by far. Like, and it's not just with stream sniping. The problem with the continuous dungeon also creates people doing scouting, which is something that I'm sure every single person in this lobby has done. I saw you with Cam. I know what it's like. You jump into the lobby, you run through, you take a blue, you cycle everyone's fucking gear, see who's worth a damn, and then you gear up or you gear and you go back in and you keep doing it. And it is just so fucking bad now on all levels of that. That's part of the reason why I'm going down into Inferno, like I said before, because if you want anything that's not a festival of shit, you're going to have to go down 2 layers where people can't just immediately Q snipe in, where there's actually like an organic player base flowing through. It's not just constantly mobile UAV stream snipers jumping in and out of lobbies to try and find gear. It's actual players. So if you want that experience, now you have to go deeper down into the core of that. And that's just been my experience. And I don't think Iron Mace can do anything because I don't think it's like a fundamental game system problem that is just compounding upon its existence. I don't think there's ever going to be a solution to it besides the streamers having delays or other major impacting things to the quality, like hiding the map when you hit M, hiding the mini map at all times, hiding the timers. Like you're just screwed if you're playing this game and streaming it for a lot of people.
how about just no spectating in HR? Let's just go back to that.
Honestly, it doesn't seem like there's a point. Like the 60 seconds of spectate feels nice because I like to cycle people, but it's just abused. Every aspect of it is abused into the dust.
Exactly. Like, is the juice worth the squeeze? Like, yes, it's nice to be able to do that, but what are we getting out of it?
I mean,
Is it
also,
versus
if you
what
take a
we
blue,
lose?
you just like can't requeue for 3 minutes.
You can't go into the same
Yeah,
map
but-
either.
Or yeah,
Like
just
that is a really easy fix.
systematically
killed
never
somebody
be allowed
until-
to join the same raid. Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
Server
I
cooldown?
killed a barb and I took
People
his
still
gear
have-
and it was a streamer and I'm not kidding, like by the time another barb came, so I killed the barb, killed the next barb, and here comes a Sork and he goes, "Did you take my gear off my body yet?" And he's just casting shit. I was like, "What?" And he says his name. I'm like, "How are you fucking back already on a different character fully geared to the same raid before I could even loot you?" That's nuts. You can't go into the same raid you've already
Yes.
been in.
Yeah, that solves a lot
You're
of the
banned from
problems.
that raid
That's-
ID or whatever it is.
That is something that I think has been like passively implemented almost, but at the same time, I still see like multiple accounts, people with multiple accounts now, especially due to the Epic Games flood. Even I have a second free account. Now it's just people are still going to use the recon. It's just the recon itself has to be gone in order for that functionality to cease.
Yeah, I'm cool with death cam. Like, you can leave the death cam in if you want to be able to report cheaters. That's fine.
You know, that
but-
person's dead. So
Right. Yes, and if you do death cam only, with the combination of what Sobad said, which we've talked about before on here, like from the day they announced continuous dungeon, we said, for the love of God, please don't let the same player join the same raid twice, and it's still not quote unquote fixed.
We still don't have the timers really polished up.
You do
There's a
those two
lot that we
things.
just there's so much, like we said, there's a lot of easy things they could just like throw at a dart and just be like, all right, well, this is a problem that we fixed and garner a lot of goodwill. And I feel like it bothers me that we haven't tackled those things and that we just continue to sit on it. The arena being number one of those. Free goodwill for all, but Iron Mace just continue. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Yeah, how much can you bench, Ken? What are we at now?
Not enough. Never enough.
One
boy.
full end boss.
Yeah, one full repose.
That's, I don't know if that's more or less than an end boss.
Yeah, that's about a ton. So
That's about a ton. Damn.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
Coke burger fries.
Let's send this to Glocktain. Glocktain, do you think meds should affect gear score?
Yeah. Yes.
Well, here, Glocktain, how about this? Ready?
What?
Utility gear score for your bracket. That's separate. You're locked to the utility gear score.
Yeah, we talked about this before. This is good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So what
Yeah.
he's saying is like
Entire is separate.
you have your gear score, which is like your 224 gear score. That's it's your gear, your paper doll, et cetera, et cetera. Then you have a separate gear score. That's your utility gear score. So you have 100 utility gear score, and you have to choose. I'm going to bring in 25 gear score of pots. I'll do 10 for surge kits. Bring a couple Frandies in there. It's a 50. Then I have 50 enough to play with. Maybe I'll bring in some campfires. I don't know.
Campfires, man.
Sure.
Yeah.
Or
So
troll piss is like
it's like
30.
couple of trolls bloods.
two different brackets, two different like bars.
Yeah, like a med bag. Like you
Part
can
of
even
the
do it by
reason-
size, not even gear score. It could just be based on size, since everything has its own size already.
I like it. If you're married to the gear score idea, that's another topic.
Yeah, I
but
think we're already married to it.
We'll say we'll relent that they are. I like it specifically because of warlocks. They are not punished at all if they bring in a troll's blood. That class brings up a whole new balancing issue. And not to mention classes that will just bring in like the big arm to the teeth, right? But it doesn't matter if you do X amount of damage because they could just reset infinitely, right?
Mhm.
Like we'll talk about druids. Hell, even wizards might even start bringing in a shit ton of clarity pots, right? Or if like you can just keep campfiring over and over. if you go
Clarities
down.
are strong. Clarities are very strong right now.
Yeah.
They're expensive, but they're worth it.
1,000
And
gold a
so-
stack.
I definitely think it's something that, you know, the Iron Mace team should look into. And I really like that idea because consumables are game changers. And like, I've lost so many untold battles. I even lost, what was it? I lost a pulverizing prayer fight because he brought in 7 magical protection pots. And when we looked in his inventory, because, you know, spectating, we saw he still had 3 stacks of purple magic protection pots. It's like, okay, I get you bringing an artifact, but like, you're equaling the artifact value at this point. Like, you know, when you're consumables, he had more ale, like, ale bard as well. They could actually like balance that to be fun instead of just chugging for 30 seconds, right? Like there's so much that they could do. I like it. Good idea. W. We'll go on to the next Q&A. And while we're waiting for a good one coming from the chat, Majora had a good chat. Sorry to glaze the dude so much.
He never does.
You know, he's just so handsome. But he said, God forbid we have something that actually punishes hitting a shield. Do you think there should be a punish for hitting a shield when it's a game that you can just drag your shield around?
I don't think
Because I
shields work
don't.
enough, and I don't think if shields would be fixed to desync blocking and all this stuff, like either shields are oppressively strong and you sit in a doorway and there's no way around them, or there's like cheese and ways to manipulate the shield, or there's just no side that everybody wins on. But yeah, there should be some fucking value to
There
having
is.
a shield, and right now it feels like I can hold right click and then die later.
Well, that's the point. You die later. That's the whole point of bringing it. It's a stat stick, and then the buckler has higher impact resistance. So that's the reward for having a smaller shield. The heater
I
and the
think-
round shield. Like if you go up against a crushed barb, how often does a crushed barb hit your shield, right? Like that's the counter to shields. Like the idea is that you don't die. You shouldn't be rewarded for holding left click. Otherwise, we'd all be, longsword fighters who are
Well,
right click Andes.
Part of
Yeah.
the problem is that your shield is always in the same hand, and therefore it's always on the same side of your body. And certain
True.
weapon sets always have a swing coming from one side that is always going to put you at a disadvantage going against someone with a shield.
Falchion and club. Sorry, what?
So
Swine-hander. What?
Soma's mentioned this. I think we've mentioned this in different ways, shapes, and forms, but just the idea of being able to press a button and switch the side that your attack animation starts from. So go from clockwise to counterclockwise, swinging, switching left to right, right to left, would go a huge, just it would go a very long way to make combat
Yeah.
feel good without becoming Mordau.
Yeah. It's like how in Fortnite you can't swap your shoulders. So if somebody's peeking the right angle, or
Exactly.
the right side, they win.
Yep.
Just like Exoborn, they added just a swap side. In Bloodhunt, you got to swap side just in case.
Yep.
And it made the fights feel so much more genuine. That's third person, but the first person relative or relation would be shield side, falchion being able to I don't use the falchion because it's always swinging from the same side. I like that. W idea.
That's good. But to talk about the shields a little bit, I mean, I think in a world where shield blocking is completely useless, like it kind of is right now, might not exact 100%, but
Magic missile.
yeah. But then if it, like, say they are useless and shields are just pointless, then every fight is just a slap fight and it's kind of boring.
Slayer fighter.
Yeah, I think shields you should be rewarded for landing a good block. Maybe the bigger shield should be less rewarding, like the heaters, the round shield. But when you get a block with a buckler, or if there are any smaller shields in the future, you should be rewarded. Like they should not be able to swing as fast on their second swing, because oftentimes you block a swing from something, you block with the shield, you hit the block, it's a good block, nice, and you're staggered for a bit. But then he hits a swing a second time before you could block a second time.
Right.
So like you just got punished for hitting a good block.
Yep.
Like that doesn't feel good. And I think a lot of that's to do with like impact power, etc. I think the whole system's kind of weird and
It's
could
odd.
take some looking at.
Now, I say this from the development side, right? You can hold left click indefinitely, but the attack hitbox is only for a specific amount of time. To match that, because the power level right now is getting kind of swayed in the favor of shield, if the effectiveness is always in the left-hand side. What if, to actively bring up the attention of the shield user to get a full block, right? Like if they're holding shield up, they could have like 90% resistance, but they would still take one hit. Like, right? Because in reality, if there's a grown man who's 300 pounds swinging down an axe on you and it hits the shield, it goes bam, right? What if when you exert force, which would be dependent on action speed, right? You get that full actual impact resistance.
You just
Crush
said it.
obviously
Describe
would work.
perfect blocking. That's all. You just say
Well, no,
you
that's
literally
desync blocking, right?
Well, but
Like
you're
that's
saying
an
that it's
abuse
like the
of
same
server,
concept.
just like
Well,
bhops.
yeah, you're just saying like to legitimize it. Basically, it's the same concept of how you familiar with how the DC
But if they
block,
don't
like,
build
what-
action speed, they can't do it. They can't do it on a slow ass cleric who's also healing, who's also out DPSing you, and also using magic damage, right? Like they would have to
do you
also
mean?
build action speed.
Okay, so you want this to be like something that has to be usable with action speed, and I can't just do it on a regular class,
Exactly.
like with a shield. I wanted this
Like
to be applied to
bee-hopping
all
is an
shields.
abuse. What's
Yeah,
up?
I'd
I mean,
rather
I-
just
I-
like timing based, period.
I'm saying tying it to
think
the
an easy
action
thing.
speed.
Just a big shield mastery baseline on all shields. Just get rid of it.
Too
It's
easy.
not
Get
hard.
them out of here.
Yeah, you already got it. Just bake it into shields, bro. Shield mastery is sweet.
That would take an ability. You can't.
No,
That breaks some classes.
fuck it. Give
It
it to
wouldn't
everybody.
actually fix the issue. But this takes away from the idea of right-click antis, like a longsword, or the desync blocking. Think of it like b-hopping. If they actually got rid of b-hopping, the desync, then they could balance how long it takes to use a spell. But right now, if they keep b-hopping, the way casters work and any empirical evidence of their win-loss is affected by that bug abuse, right? So if people are upset about how there's no talent in blocking, or if you get rewarded too heavily with a parry and the headshot multiplier, right? Like the riposte and stuff, make it something that is skill based, right? Now you can of course have a different argument. You can have a different opinion. I feel like I got my point across, so I'm good on that end.
Skill-based
But-
blocking, good. I mean,
Yes.
I personally,
Yeah.
I know this is a bit of a hot take. I think the desync blocking or the perfect blocking is a good thing. I
That
know
is-
I think
agree.
it's unintended. I think it's a bug, but I think that is something that I should look at and like maybe implement it as a mechanic. 'Cause
Yes.
because
100%.
it's timing based.
Yes.
It's good. It's very very
It's
good. mechanic.
insane risk versus reward.
Yeah, 'cause
anybody
if
in
you
the
fuck
chat
up, you
can
get
pull it
punished.
off.
If you fuck up, you get hit by his Y in the head and
Yes.
you die. If you land it, you
Yeah.
get a sick riposte. It's like it's what skill expression should be.
Yeah, it's the opposite of binding something to your mouse wheel and just smacking the button as your frames carry you while you. It's very 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 embarrassing compared to the two.
Yep.
And I know a lot of people constantly pull up the fucking like momentic videos of Solar and like the clips of perfect blocking, and they will ream him and talk about. There's a guy that posts in the Discord that is trying to get Solar banned, and it's just one of the most passionate things I've ever seen. And he is just the world's most embarrassing person. And I'm sorry for them, but it's like if that is something that really bothers you, all bunny hopping, all weapon swapping, all of these things need to be removed. And I agree they should be, but that's just it's insane to think about like they're all the same exact button. They're all the same exact functionality problem.
On the Solar topic, like for every like one of those sweet Solar clips, there's like 10 clips of me trying to perfect block with a crystal
Yeah.
sword and dying. So like
Yes.
Where does Solar live close to his server?
I mean, I'm not sure what his ping is.
I mean, we played between East and West, me and him.
he does that on every region I've seen him on. So.
Yeah, it's not.
Okay,
It's literally like it's mostly. I don't think it has much to do with actual in-game ping as much as game sense, knowledge of the enemy, like swing pattern, hitboxes, that sort of thing. Like it's more on the exact timing of like watching the war maul, knowing when the timing of the swing connect, because you're starting your swing. Like you are exposing yourself. If you are anything but perfect, that's why it's a perfect block. You are getting smacked in the face by whatever weapon, war maul or otherwise.
And so
I would
You
like
look
to-
perplexed.
Sorry, chat is like bringing up other like exploits
Yeah.
like b hopping and perfect blocking and
The
it
hot
being
swapping.
and hot swapping and
Yes.
it being a skill expression. But I think what the important takeaway with perfect blocking is that it comes with a risk, whereas like the hot swapping
And the
and the
skill.
b hopping is like
Hot swapping, you have
there's
to hide your
no
screen.
risk.
Right.
Well,
You lose that.
And there's no skill. There's no
part of-
skill.
right.
Just
part
to
of
say
the
it.
part of the skill is measuring the risk to reward. That's like part of what skill is. Don't get
Okay.
me wrong. So like that's what I'm trying to bring it up is you're taking a risk. It is timing based. It is skill expressive. Whereas b hopping is just smashing a key, and
It's like game labs.
and hot swapping is just pointless APM swapping things out of your inventory. So they're two very different things. I know,
But
like
it's
they're
not
in the
as
same
easy as the scroll
category.
wheel.
Not as easy to scroll, but
You
they're
have to
in the same
literally aim and
category.
do it right. If your mouse spawns in the wrong spot, you're dead.
I'll make an auto hotkey script. It's fine.
Oh, nice. Same. Sidebar later, but
Yeah.
like, I personally want these gone to see what they do with the game mechanically. I think the
Yeah,
game
once they're out of the game, it should be different.
right. Like obviously desync blocking, I think that would be so much harder to fix. So I would want that on like the end scale because I don't see it as much. B hopping as a caster, I'll give Retzi the props, man. He was the one. I was watching him play Wizard and his fucking stretched bullshit, dude. He's done it ever since fucking Apex, where he lowers his resolution so the hitboxes are bigger. Fucking beta. Holy shit. But he'll literally stretch the resolution so the hitboxes are bigger. And I was just like, oh, I was hate watching the shit out of the dude. And then he was doing the B hopping with the spells, and I was like, God damn it, he's so much better than me. God damn it. But like, is it really like, will the game go in a better place? Can we actually cast catchers or catch casters if they do that? Like, I'm curious to hear from Sobad. Sobad's been pretty quiet.
He's
What do you
tired.
think? What are you talking
He's
about?
done.
I am actually very tired. But what? Sorry, can you present the question again?
Do you think the game would go in a good direction if they got rid of B hopping? Do you think that would help balance and make the game better for casters versus fighters and like the melee classes? Because right now, I think a lot of the melee classes are like, oh, well, I need Frannies or a crossbow to even keep up because they just B hop away from me. It's like, do you think that would actually lead
I mean,
to
we
a
need
good
we
thing,
needed
or-
we needed that without b hopping. It's already hard to catch them. especially
I
with
played cleric, motherfucker.
But my thing about b-hopping is, for me, it's mixed, because b-hopping can be very skill expressive when everyone's good at it and everyone's doing it. And when you watch the best players in the world doing it, it looks like a whole nother class of competitive gameplay, like Vincent. But I also feel like it's fucking stupid, and it looks fucking stupid, and it is fucking stupid, and it should be removed. But like, honestly, I think it could go either way, and I don't use it, and I'm fine. But like, I would definitely be a better player if I did it, and so would everybody. So I don't know.
Nice.
Yeah.
Be it.
Being better and not being more skill expressive are like two different branches. Like, yes, you are a better player if you're fighting somebody and you're b-hopping and they are not. But does it make you actually better, or are you just doing the b-hopping? You're just
Right.
bunny hopping. You're not actually better. I'm sorry.
It's not like, it's
Like,
hard
maybe
to
you
do.
bunny hopping in the right spot and you knew you had a door open behind you, so you had more open space, but go fuck yourself. All you did was roll your mouse wheel. Next
'Cause
topic.
I like these topics because, you know, we all have that kind of like gray area of like b-hopping, desync blocking. I think everybody hates the hot swapping weapons. I really don't think that should be in
Oh,
the
yeah.
game though. Like, I was just
Oh,
playing
yeah.
devil's advocate for shits and
Yeah.
gigs. But if you're holding a book and then all of a sudden I blink and you're stabbing me, like that's shit. Like, the game's just shit. Like,
No, the hot swapping has to go. That's shit.
Mhm.
And it was always shit. And when we had fucking hot swapping on mouse wheel, they patched that so fast. And this is basically the same.
It's just funny
Yeah.
because like people will use the same argument they use for b-hopping and DC blocking for the hot swapping. They're like, oh, bro, it's skill expressive. It's great. But like, shut up.
Like,
Just
we
shut
can
up.
see, we can
It
see
sucks.
the
It
desync, we can
sucks.
see the b-hopping. You know, it's
Yeah.
counterplayable and skill
Yeah.
expressive. There's no counter expression to, oh, he's got his book out, I should go in melee. JK dead. Like,
Yeah,
oh,
like-
Mhm.
Like the whole point is like, oh, okay, I'm fighting the Warlock. I have to close the gap on him. He's a range character. You finally close the gap on him. Okay, with your fists out and you pull out your weapon, but he just cheeses you and hot swaps and like gets on you instantly. It's the worst thing ever.
baited idiots. This was all
And
a
the hot
ploy. Nerf druid. Why does
It was
he
a
get
bait. It was
face
all a
block?
bait. Yeah, that played. Skill expression baited.
Absolutely shit on. This is a hot swap of the conversation. Hitboxes immediately change. Get shit on. You're bad. Silenced. GG. No read.
You got punished for closing the gap on the range character with the ranged weapon out. It's on you, idiot.
To clarify for
Oh.
those that haven't been really paying attention or went over their heads, skill expression goes usually in both directions and can be countered. With this, there's no skill expression. It is you chasing a guy with your fist out. It goes one direction. He can switch his weapon from book to sword. You cannot switch from fists to fucking sword. You can't go from you can't switch nearly as fast. So it's a one-sided swap. He gets the hot swap. You get to watch. That's it. You can sit in the cuck chair and enjoy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But named Crystal Sword. Do we think we're getting a name?
It looks
Never
so cool.
gonna-
That
it's never gonna happen.
For sure, we're gonna get one.
No,
I think it's
because
gonna happen next
that
week.
means Wizard would have a good unique weapon, and like Artemis will not do that. They just won't.
Spellweaver?
Sucks on
What?
Wizard. It's better on
Darkness?
Mhm.
it's not good on Wizard. Better on Warlock.
Just because it's
It's
better on
incredible on
someone doesn't
Warlock,
mean
yeah.
it's not good.
I mean, the monetary to like his power level compared to other uniques.
Stinky
is
stick.
very,
Oh my
very
god, you're
small.
delusional. Stinky
Oh
stick.
well,
I
finally
got two
they
stinky
buffed it.
sticks a week before they
See?
buffed it.
You're saying this? It's unironic, but the stinky stick is the best Wizard unique.
Does the magic damage scale?
Oh no, I wish.
Not in the
No.
clouds.
No.
I think
Also, it's kind of
Oh,
weird.
someone.
Just I played with it today. It spawns a cloud 100% of the time, but
But
it
only
stops.
3.
It stops spawning them when you're at 3. So you actually cannot be using it in PvE because you have to be ready to use it for PvP. So you have to like
Oh, that's
swap
weird.
to your other weapon. It's very weird. It's weird
You
as
gotta
fuck. I
choose
don't know why it
those,
doesn't just replace the clouds like it should.
The gas hurts you
But-
though, right?
True.
No,
No,
it
you are
doesn't.
immune to the gas.
Oh.
Zombie gas.
While your
can
weapon
still
is
hurt you.
equipped.
No,
While
zombie
the
gas
weapon
you
is
are
out,
also immune to.
Oh,
You're
that's
immune to
fucking
all
awesome.
gas.
Yes, it's fucking a really cool weapon, and in trios with 3
Wow.
people using it, it would
You're
just be
telling me
fun because
Ken's
there'd be
mixtape?
clouds.
I'm
my
immune to Ken's mixtape.
I'm curious if I bring in two stinky sticks, if I can have 6 clouds by cycling.
Holy
a weapon.
shit, the lad
I'm not sure if
cycle.
it's tied to it.
You
I
need,
actually
no,
didn't
you
want to.
need 4 stinky sticks, and then you hot swap
I have
them.
I have 2 stinky sticks. I'm staring at my stinky stick and my stinky sticks.
Yes.
No, I have like a 61 dex kit with 55% action speed. But now it doesn't matter because the stinky procs are immediate, so it's going to
It
be
is-
like
Yeah, your first 3 hits and then nothing.
But I
Yeah,
really
but
don't.
it
I
still works
don't
well
think
with
we're
Smite.
getting the Crystal Sword unique because of the Katie Pavese incident. You guys remember that?
Where they changed it, and then she bought a bunch, and they changed the names. And was that the market
Where
manipulation one?
one of the
Okay,
uniques
yeah.
they changed mid-season. So Katie, with her infinite wealth from wyvern farming, bought all the uniques of like the Pavese and something else. I can't remember what it was.
It was the
And
Bardish.
so-
I bought the Bardish
The
personally.
Bardish. And so then they had to put out a statement like, we're not going to change any of the uniques to artifacts mid-season again. I'm
Yeah,
pretty
they
sure
did it, and then they
they're
went
not gonna
back.
do it.
They added, so they changed them to give them names, right? Like we had like I don't think there was a name Pavese, but we had like Raptor for the Bardish or whatever, but they never actually added the stats. And then they
Oh.
re-rolled that, and they went back to regular, just like unique Bardish. So they like kind of gave names to 3 new uniques that were coming, and then removed it and brought them back to just regular uniques. But yeah, I remember
Oh,
buying
okay.
those.
I mean, the best
Because
one
they-
was Xerxes, because if you had, I think this is when they swapped it, was if you had unique crystal balls mid-season, they became Xerxes, and you were just rich.
I never saw. I wasn't. I don't remember when that happened. I wasn't playing with Xerxes.
Yeah, because it already had the animation, like the unique crystal
Oh, the
ball was
graphic?
already the fucking graphic. It was like I called it the Eye of the Lich because it just looked fucking
Well,
awesome.
We know they said they're not going to do legacy gear anymore, so
Right.
like that would be on the same vein of creating a unique artifact, and like they're not going to just give it to all the owners of that unique thing. So I assume they'll just, yeah, it would be cool
mean,
though if they did.
It'd be easy to make a crystal sword too. You could almost do like a darkness shard thing with it, where like every time you hit something, you get like a stack of something. And
I
then-
think
It could be
I think it's very
utility.
cool that like just changing the visual on the crystal sword just 10x the price of it. Like drip
Yeah,
cells,
more.
baby, drip cells. Let's go.
Yeah, looking
It's
good.
true.
You
It
like
looks
cool
really cool
shits?
too.
It looks really good.
Drip sells because it looks cool. Like,
So does
it's
Viola.
also-
They also changed Viola for those who didn't know.
About
It has
Foldor.
the
I
same
haven't seen
look
it.
as the crystal sword. It's now like a icy,
Oh, it's like glass?
transparent- It's like glass.
Mhm.
That's cool. Looks like
So
fucking
bad.
crack.
Mhm.
How do you feel about being able to cull darkness shards off your teammate and not have to take soul collector?
Oh, we haven't even talked about this. Fuck Warlock and their plus
Plus
5.
5 all.
Yeah,
What?
that is a big waste.
What are they
There was
doing?
nobody that asked for Warlocks to get a +5 all, and that was a silly
Well,
change.
Warlock was like one of the strongest, like most play classes in like duos, trios, and then they just gave him plus 5 all for free,
Hardcore
and,
game,
and-
dude. Hardcore game.
made them the answer to buff ball, which is the most popular comp. Which
I think it's a bug, dude. They shouldn't be getting those shards without soul collector.
the thing is,
gotta be- it's
it
gotta be
feels like a
bug.
bug, but it's an intended mechanic. It's
Shouldn't be
definitely
about
100% intended, but it feels like a bug because it's so fucking stupid. I'm
It's
sorry.
very
I'm getting angry.
strong. Yeah.
Sorry, it's okay.
Fine.
Sorry, calm down.
Let it
I
go.
just got back on Warlock today for the first time in ages, and I was blown away. I was like, you just predate and you get all your shards. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, I think
Also,
Predate
hated
should be a
playing
different
Bard with that.
functionality.
That was
Yeah.
awful.
Also,
Yeah, I was playing with Solar, and he's been like, "I'm playing my Bard in the arena, and I'm not going to buff anymore. Have yourself a wonderful time."
Mhm.
He goes out there with the specific intent of letting the Warlock spell predate his non-buffed Bard self, and he's
That's
like,
funny.
"Haha, you stupid goddamn Warlock! You've got nothing." I'm like, "Whatever
my God.
makes you happy, man." But
I
yeah,
like
it's pure hatred for that ability. I think they
Yeah.
could have done a lot of utility smacking around on it, like maybe in Purge the buffs instead of granting Soul Collector shards. It puts like a stacking slow, or there's just so many ways to even that out.
Or
instead
does
of giving
damage
5
for buff
all,
you take.
which
Yeah.
it does.
so I mean, I think Pred's actually a good game design and
Mhm.
and
It's
some
I
very
like the
cool.
aspects, right?
purging. I just don't like
Yeah,
the Soul
purging is-
Collectors part of it.
Yeah, Soul Collector shouldn't be a thing, and also the damage shouldn't scale. It should be like flat damage dealt based on the number of buffs, and it'd be a relatively low number. Like
Wait, how does it scale?
it scales with
Per
flat
buff.
damage and power. So,
So,
per
like-
buff, it's like crazy. If you hit a fully buffed bard, you hit him for like 60 damage,
Damn.
flat instantly. Like it's
I
ridiculous.
didn't realize it scaled. Holy shit.
Yeah. So like if you ever do like Soul Collector and you're sucking your teammate off, you take off your jewelry first. Be polite. Don't kill him.
Let me take
I
off
don't
my
know.
rings. Don't
Yeah,
mess
you
up my
take you
hair.
take off your clothes before you suck your teammate off.
Oh, you know what? Glock, when I did it to Glock, we were in 224s. I was pretty juiced. I had 50 will. It wasn't hitting him that hard, but I'm
Dude, you
sure
were
in
half
like.
healthing me. Like,
Was it
I
half?
spent so many meds, and I had to play like the
my bad.
songs twice.
Honestly,
like,
I was a
"Two
warlock,
fingers
dude. I didn't
bleeding."
care about you. I just wanted my shards.
Yep,
I knew it.
I was ready to go after that. I get my shards from you, and I'm like, yeah, bye. I'm juiced.
Also,
Me and
like
Solar.
it's not. It's
ahead.
very lame too because like now since plus 5 all is such a very hot commodity, everybody wants plus 5 all, of course, such a strong effect. but like now you don't even want to use any of your darkness spells anymore. No more dark bolt,
Right.
no more dark beam. You're not using
Yep.
dark reflection anymore. It like completely
Yeah.
it made Warlock more one dimensional and kind of lame, just for like the power at +5 all. Which
That
kind of
probably is true with like a little bit of meta on it, but I do have to say 100% more dark damage on a bolt
I
of
still
darkness
use it, but,
headshot
you
is
know.
like deleting people. It's like a
very
headshot
true.
with a windlass. It hits for like one, I don't even know, a
Or
lot.
it's like 5%
130,
damage,
140.
cast speed, move speed, or everything else until you
Yeah.
use that dark bolt, which is
that
also
is-
granted those effects before the 100% damage is applied. So, you know, that's cool too.
Mm. All right, boys. I am too tired to continue, and we've
Yeah,
been
we've
going
been
two and
at
a
it
half
for a
hours.
while. Yeah.
I think we sign it off there. Take us
That was
away,
impressive.
Arcane.
Yeah, it was a good episode. Glock, thanks for joining, man. Come back anytime. We did have a brief technical difficulty, and by brief I mean 20 minutes at the beginning of the episode. So for those of
boy.
you that are going to go back and watch, I'm gonna have to piece together either Josh's or Ken, whoever's streaming right now. I'll go piece it back together for the final cut later.
Yeah, smart.
Or end boss.
Well, he
Thank
wanted
you,
to, he wanted
Glockton.
to do best.
Anybody but End Boss. Anybody
Yeah,
Thank
but
do
you.
best. We all know.
Shared chat, we're all together. You know, there's so bad, Ken and
I
And
don't
who?
have Twitch up right now. Give me a break. So, yeah,
Does Zenboss stream?
I didn't know that he streamed this. I didn't know that he streamed our podcast typically. So,
they've only been live 13 hours. You're right.
Holy
You
shit.
part timer, end boss. What was your last stream? Only 27 hours or something?
Rounded down for safety.
You fucker.
for
Yours.
safety, always. But yeah, what else is going on here? Did we have any upcoming events we need to announce or anything pressing?
Not on my end.
I can't think of anything. Hopefully,
And
we'll get
then
another
boss?
patch next
Well,
week.
I will. I doubt it. We're on the 3-week cycle, bro. It's 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
We are on the downturn. All right, we are officially like 30 days away from wipe if we're keeping schedule. So that's kind of exciting. We're coming to the end times, and we have the uniques coming available to be used in the arena.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's also pretty goddamn exciting. Let's hope
That'll
that
make
we don't
arena
have to
more
have.
fun.
Let's
That'll
hope
make
we don't have to
arena
have minted gear
Mm.
because there's no way people are gonna get full minted uniques.
I literally turned down a minted Aegis, so I will kick myself right in the face.
Why would you do that?
I just didn't care enough because I figured it would be non-minted. I was with Katie and dropped, and I was like, "Yeah, give it to your friend." Who gives
Katie
a
makes
shit?
sense. You know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, she her unique, so you know, go way
I
back.
turned it down as she
Mhm.
ran into the blue.
yeah. She shot me in the face and ran into the blue. Yeah.
I may just
Oh
sing.
my God.
Gah.
That's funny.
All right,
Yeah,
boys.
Also,
it's-
sorry, just final thing is buy your unique gems, Chad. I know the market just crashed, but the unique gems are already 50,000.
Buy the dip, bro. Buy the
Just,
dip. Buy the
just
dip.
wait until you can put
Diamond
that
hands.
shit in the arena. That's gonna be like 100K for those gems.
Yeah.
Hold the skull keys, diamond hands. We're waiting.
I fucking love
That's
Keo.
right. All right,
Alrighty.
guys. We've done some good work. This was episode 35 of the Hold the Line podcast. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Appreciate you guys all in the chat, all around on all channels, especially end bosses.
Nice.
That's not what they're saying.
All right.
All 12 of them.
You're all shit.
We'll see you guys. Till next time.
I hear what you're saying.
I love him.